What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Knackers, and MiddleAgedStream is not on camera, but Bishop is on camera. What the fuck is going on here? Hello?
I can see Jimmy. I can see him.
By the way,
I'm here.
Hey, You're there now. By the way, the reason I give you the countdown is so you can stop fucking talking while I'm doing the beginning of the show. You fucking every show. I
didn't know that. I thought that was like you were switching over.
No.
And then we're like, oh, he's coming. He's gonna
Literally,
switch the.
It's 3, 2, 1, and then I start talking immediately.
Hold on. First of all, you've never all the times we've done this in the last several episodes. You have never explicitly stated that's what that means. Okay,
fuck it. Let's just restart it. Just restart the whole thing, Knackers.
Fuck it.
Restart it over. Go back to the start. Go back to the start.
Start it over.
Start it over. Okay. Here it goes. Here it goes. Talk.
What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Knackers.
Stuff going on, and it was.
Don't break your new chair.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcasts and Hot Pockets. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. My name's BishopGp here. I'm joined here by my co-host.
No, you're not BishopGp. You're MiddleAgedStream according to the overlay.
That's true. Yes, I'm MiddleAgedStream.
On the OBS.
Wait, should I
Good
leave
job,
and come
Knackers.
back?
Can we just take a moment to applaud Knackers for
He's
his
always
hard
doing
work
such a
putting
great
this
job.
podcast together?
I think it was the red
Golly.
light in the mustache that threw him off. He doesn't know. He actually doesn't know which one is which, to be honest. Or actually,
one of you needs to change your LED backdrop right now. You're way too similar.
We're becoming like symbiotic.
Yeah.
We're becoming the same person.
We're an amalgamation of good looks, gaming talent.
Here, I label it.
Okay, real talk though, because I'm gonna call you on some BS.
Mm-hmm.
Is a symbiote ever really a single person? Because they're always two separate things, but just in the same body. Is that really like good word to use in that situation?
I don't know, man. I'm just calling it like I see it, man. Just calling it like I see it. You're gonna judge my vocabulary? Counsel?
Yeah.
Dude.
I'm trying to brush up on my vernacular. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I'm bringing the friggin' big guns out tonight, baby. You better watch.
I actually downloaded an app for vocabulary the other day, and I've been learning new vocabulary. But don't ask me what words I've learned, because I haven't learned anything yet.
Hopefully none of them are really vocabulary.
What does that mean?
You rated it 5 words? Okay, but seriously, if you were to go back in like the past 5 episodes and you listen to me talk like right at the beginning of the show, one of you is still fucking talking, even though
but you always fucked it up because you still had yourself muted or one of us muted, remember?
The reason I keep you muted is because you are always talking when I start the show. That's why I started muting you guys.
Hashtag didn't explain the expectations. Hashtag poor podcasting.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take it. Right. But anyways, today is Sunday, October 18th, 2020, and this is episode number 131. And today, unfortunately, on the show, we have BishopGp and MiddleAgedStream. And fortunately, to save us from this fucking calamity is GameWithGray. So BishopGp, how you doing tonight, man?
You know, being the calamity that this podcast needs, I'm doing great. I'm happy that Jimmy's here. I'm also happy that Gray's here. And that's really it. That's my list of people.
That's fair. And Mr. MiddleAgedStream, who are you grateful for?
I am grateful that I have a wife who cuts my hair.
That's
Look
fair.
at that fade.
Oh, she faded it too.
Well,
she learned how to do a fade off of YouTube.
She had to
watch the YouTube video, and I'm not trying to insult if there's any hairdressers listening to this podcast or anything. I'm not trying to insult you, okay? But I pretty much have the simplest haircut that you can get, like a basic fade. Like I'm just a basic bitch boy? Fuck boy.
Fuck boy.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Fuck boy.
I don't think any fuckboys have mustaches, right?
No?
I don't think anybody who has been labeled as a fuckboy has just a mustache.
I don't
Really?
think so.
So I'm going to have to find a new way to refer to myself then.
I think that's called a fuck man when there's a mustache.
Fuck dad.
That's
Fuck dad. Yeah, dad. Dilf.
Dilf. This doesn't sound as good as MILF.
It does
No.
not.
The hard D sound just doesn't. Is better sounding anything.
It's smooth, yeah. D's a little blunt.
Mm-hmm.
What if you
Your
didn't like
D's a
Phil?
little blunt? Is that what you just said?
Filth?
Like father, I'd like to.
Oh, no.
But it's just weird. It's just not. That doesn't work
Bill.
either. I was just
No,
running
'cause then
through all the
that-
different names and like, I don't think any of them sound good.
Oh, I want to get that filled. Wait, what?
What?
Where did filth come from?
Filth
What are you
be
trying to
filth.
fill there, brother?
Moving on. Game with Gray, or as we like to call you, Gray. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. Did you accompany yourself with some booze? Did you find something?
I did.
Okay.
I have whiskey.
Do you still have that bottle close? Because
I do.
okay, so apparently there's this lovely liquor out here called the White Walker, which is some type of Game of Thrones themed. And is it Johnny Walker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. That's such a cool looking bottle. I love it.
I don't remember exactly what it does, but when you put it in the freezer, it has an unexpected icy reveal.
Just a bunch of dicks.
Snazzy. Yeah.
Wait, do you
I
get
would
it out
buy
of a
that.
freezer from a store? So like it already is revealing that, so it's kind of like a spoiler alert.
Maybe? I don't know. I got this
Oh.
as a thing from my brother. My brother
Gotcha.
gave it to me.
Yeah,
It's
maybe they have to.
Maybe.
It's like it has to be shelf kept, so then it doesn't spoil the surprise. Because then people wouldn't buy it if it was in a freezer, right?
Yeah, that's true. They'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, what does it reveal? I need to know. Must
Like, okay.
buy.
I'm buying Absolute now. Fuck it.
Isn't it a little odd that they are encouraging you to put it in the freezer? Like, how many, like, Jimmy, out of all the whiskey drinkers that you know, how many people actually drink their whiskey cold compared to the people that just drink it neat?
I'd say it's probably 50-50.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah. I drink it cold. I don't drink it neat.
Yeah, fuck that, man. I've tried it a lot. Like when I got my new ones, I tried them all neat and lukewarm or room temperature. Lukewarm is so weird to say. And I was like, oof. I mean, these are good, but goddamn, straight up, woo!
If you're a Scotch drinker, I think that's more common because if you use expensive Scotch, you don't want to water that down too much, you know?
Mm.
But I'm not a Scotch drinker. I'm a whiskey drinker, so.
I don't know if I'll ever be a Scotch drinker. That's going to be tough for me.
Yeah, I might be a little too hardcore for old Jimbles.
Nothing's too hardcore for filthy dad Jimmy. Well, I've been really bad about this in the past. So, Gray, what I want you to do is introduce yourself. Tell us a little about what you do here on the internet. I've been really bad about highlighting the guests because most of the people that I have on, I feel like there isn't a need for an introduction because we're already friends and like we all know you and you know us. But it's not about me. It's about the audience. So please take a second. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Still figuring that whole thing out. My name's Gray. I stream Tuesday through Saturday, do a variety of things. Just a person and make content online and play a lot of different games. And I'm so bad at introducing myself. I'm just like, I am a human on the earth with you. Hello.
No, you're doing great. You are a human. I'm actually, everything you said is true.
Believe me.
Jimmy is Bierman. How long have you been streaming on Twitch now, Gray?
5 years, I want to
Okay.
say.
And then
Coming
how long
up to 6, actually.
have you been creating content online?
10 years, a whole decade.
Wow.
It's a long time.
I'm the old lady around these parts.
Oh my goodness.
So, were you doing stuff on Justin TV by any chance?
No. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I should have, but no. I was primarily on YouTube first for the first 5 years, and then I discovered I could do what I was doing on YouTube on Twitch and do it live, and I was like, oh, that's my new bay now.
No planning required. I just turn on the stream and
Yeah,
it's
oh
good
my
to
God,
go.
it's so much
all you
easier.
gotta do.
Holy shit.
Is there, now I know that you've had this conversation so many times, and I know that I've asked you questions about the transition from YouTube to Twitch. If you were to go back, would you have still made that transition to Twitch, or do you think you would have, like, if you had the decision between starting over on YouTube, new content, new channel, or transitioning over into Twitch and doing the Twitch experience, what do you think you would do?
I would still go with Twitch. The only thing I would do is maybe like change up how I transitioned, because it was more like, oh, hi, streaming? Yes, goodbye, YouTube. Never touching again, or like very rarely touching it, which is not smart on my part. But no, yeah, I would 100% stick to like going to YouTube or to Twitch, not to YouTube.
Oh,
To Twitch. To Twitch.
shit. I totally had another question that I had been meaning to ask, and it completely slipped my mind. So, but now that I did that to you, Bishop, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about your human experience.
Yeah, 27, I think now, 27 years on this earth. It's been a pretty decent experience, just chilling, vaping. I'm a freestyle vapor on the internet. I do vape tricks on Instagram. A huge deal, massive deal. I'm actually on another podcast now for sim racing, and it just started kicking off because of work. So I'm actually on 2 podcasts now. I'm sorry, Knackers, you've been superseded by a smaller podcast. But yeah, for some reason,
are you going to join a third podcast? You're going to join one of those vape tricks podcasts?
Vape trip. Yeah, exactly.
And explain people through the use of sound how to make those tricks work?
Yeah, well, my objective is to bring vape tricking back into the mainstream. So that's why I'm on these podcasts. That's what I was hoping.
Doesn't it have to be in the mainstream to get back in the mainstream? First, like when it happened to originally been in the mainstream.
If you go back to 2017, I think you'd be surprised. Nowadays, in your class, it's filled with kids with JanSport backpacks and what do they call them? Jewels.
Don't you shit on JanSport?
Yeah, JanSport and Jewels, man. But back in the day when I was a kid, they just had vitamin bottles and weed. So it's times are changing.
Dude,
yes.
If I could describe my high school experience with attire, it would be North Face, JanSport, double stacked popped collared polos, and Birkenstocks. Like that is my fucking high school. Not my high school experience.
Right.
I didn't dress.
That's what you saw. Yeah.
Yes. Just oh my! It's so insane. Like when I go back in my mind and I think about what high school was like and the groups and the kids. Do you guys ever think about where people are in life right now?
No, I know where they're at. It's Facebook. Yeah. They're a bunch of fucking losers, man.
Oh God, you have people added on Facebook.
True.
I am literally friends with 2 people that I went to high school with that I still communicate with regularly. But that's it.
That's a little bit more believable because you didn't grow up with Facebook like while you were in school, right? Like how many people actually?
Yeah, there was no social media for me for when I was in school.
That's also kind of crazy.
It is, and I'm so glad because I would have been in so much trouble.
Yeah, I'm fairly aware of what everyone else is doing based on what pyramid scheme they're all subscribing to. So I have a bunch of messages that have gone unread, and it's like, hey, buy my new lotion, buy my new essential oils, buy my new energy drink that we're all a part of.
Viva
have a BMW. So yeah, I don't go on Facebook often. Maybe like once every 6 months, but it's enough to realize that I'm happy that I'm a part of this world and not that one anymore. So
yeah. Absolutely. I have most of my Facebook friends from like high school. I probably accepted more than I should have, and I had a big freaking school. Like my graduating class was near 1,000 people. And I like didn't see or know any of those people, but they're on my friends list. And I'm like, I don't know how or why I accepted you, but now I know your whole life and that you're married and you're doing this pyramid scheme. Cool. Good job.
Holy shit. Yeah. I think my whole school was 1,100 people. Like my whole high school. God damn. How long was that graduation ceremony?
2 hours.
Oh my God.
It was like speed reading through. It was wild.
Terrible.
At least 2 hours.
So after all of these years of content creation and streaming, what is still, do you have a certain skill that you have worked so hard to grow, but you are still bad at, other than introducing yourself? Is there still something after all this time that you're like, man, I still really suck at blank?
All of it. I don't know.
Oh, shut up.
I really don't know.
I tell you what, I got something for you. Something for you. I'm going to say something about you. This might make it easier. Okay? So one of the things I know about Gray, and I usually lurk in your streams, and sometimes I'll pop out and lurk, say hello, but I lurk in most of the streams that I visit. Even Knackers, I spend more time lurking than actually chatting, usually, especially when he's playing Rocket League.
Yeah.
Anyway, besides the point. You are an exceptional exceptional streamer at being able to juggle conversation and you play a lot of games with other people live. That is a skill that I do not have, and I'm always impressed of how easily you can conversate with, I mean, people who are, I know, part of your community and people that you know, but that's such a hard skill to really, people don't understand it. It's not just like talking. When you're live and you're juggling all these other things and you're trying to also entertain, that's a tough thing to do. So that is something I think that you are really good at, and that's definitely a skill I do not have.
Oh, thank you. I always feel like I forget things so quickly if I say something and then someone responds, yeah, streamer brain. Yeah. It happens all the time. I feel like that factors in so much. But I guess. Well, thanks.
Yeah. When we dual streamed together, when we played Rogue Company, I couldn't tell that you were streaming. That's how good you were at it, maintaining conversations, separating chat from VoIP. So I was very, very impressed. Because
thank you.
I don't know how often you guys. I know Jimmy doesn't at all, but as far as like teaming up with people that you find in game and then being like, hey, let's jump into VoIP together. I've done that a good bit, and some people just have absolutely no VoIP etiquette whatsoever. Yeah. Like they don't even know what the word etiquette means, and you're like, oh God, you are so cool to play with, but you've now made my stream a living hell. And it's crazy because I don't know of many things that you can do with somebody else where like what you do impacts the other streamer so much. Like if you're a streamer and you're multi-streaming with somebody and you're just talking all the time and you're never muting yourself and like you're reacting to my chat and you're reacting to your own chat, you can take up 90% of the air, like the talking air. And it can be such a terrible experience. And I haven't quite done it yet, but there's been a point where I thought, I'm about to dual stream with this person. Do I have a conversation beforehand about like the ground rules?
Yeah. Just like, hey, so like push a talk, push a mute. Like, some options. Maybe like you should try it.
I think it's easier. It's definitely easier to do it before than after the fact. I played WoW Classic with a buddy that I knew, and then someone that he brought in that was a friend of his. And WoW is a game that has like 500 keybinds that you can add to your mouse and everything, right? People like to keybind a bunch of stuff. And it was something that the guy was literally so unwilling to do a push to talk that I made the channel that we were using in Discord to be push to talk. Like I had to force it because we talked to him multiple times. He's like, no, well, I don't want to have to like move my keybinds around just so I can talk. And it's like,
and it was your stream? You were streaming?
Yeah. This is like 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow.
So this is
so you were streaming and he refused to go by your rules because it was too much.
Well, but I think that the problem is that the perception.
No, that's the problem.
No, it is a problem. So like, but I think there's a clear differentiation between when it's a group of people playing a game and then one person is streaming, right? Like you can't set the boundaries for the rules. And with something like WoW Classic or like party games like Rogue Company, you have to set the precedent that you're streaming and then they're playing as a part of that stream versus a group of people playing together. Otherwise, it becomes a bit of a challenge to be able to moderate that. So I'm used to that a lot with Rogue Company, just in general, because I don't stream it right now. But I know a lot of people that I end up playing with are ending up streaming. And I have noticed myself actually being that guy that fills the air with voice because I'm taking it so seriously that I'm making call outs like the entire game.
Right.
But usually I'm pretty good at like in between matches. I'll just shut the hell up.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I just did. So, I mean, I basically...
I don't know why you even
asked. Instead of really asking.
You should have just done it, man. You should have just gone for it.
Isn't the definition of that, is that a try hard?
Mm-hmm.
Try harding?
Yeah, sweat, try hard. No lifer.
You're sweating?
I hate those terms so much. And I know that's a huge talking point in the gaming community right now with skill-based matchmaking and try-hards and sweaties, but maybe it's because I'm a sweaty.
Take it a little more personally.
Yeah, I mean, I play games to win them. That's just me. Like, I can still have fun, but it's more fun if I can win, you know?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a night of getting fucking stomped at Rocket League is not fun.
No.
And then streams where you have fantastic plays and passes or like dope grenades, you know, awesome point takeovers. I'm just outside of Rocket League. It's fucking great. Like when you have good, strategic, hilarious gameplay, it's amazing. Yeah. Like give me sweaty all day. I don't like being sweaty physically while I'm being sweaty in the game, but you know, Bishop, moist. You brought up a great point, and this is something that I think we've touched on the podcast before, was that once you start streaming, there is a huge difference. There's a massive change to where it is no longer a group of friends playing games together. It is one person is streaming and everybody else is a guest. And that, I think that is a difficult thing, not for people to grasp, but for people to accept. On a personality level, I think for some people it's like, oh, I can't be the funny one anymore. I can't be the loud one anymore. Like I have to kind of refuse to dial themselves back for the sake of the stream. I think it's hard for people to accept that. And I know personally, I've lost friends because I've started streaming. They don't want any part of the Twitch culture. They can't stand how things are kind of amplified a little bit for the sake of entertainment for the audience. They just kind of hate it all.
Hold on a second. You've lost friends because you were streaming on Twitch?
Yeah. I mean,
they were
like you told
fans.
someone you were streaming and they're like, I can't be friends with you, you streamer.
No. And think of them more like gaming acquaintances than friends, right? But like,
okay.
You know, because I started in a gaming community and then streaming kind of infiltrated our gaming community. And there was a hard divide between the dudes that were just there to game and then the people who were like, oh, we took up streaming as a hobby. It caused a massive kerfuffle between everybody.
I can understand that.
Yeah. Because you've got these guys and girls who in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, they don't like the Twitch culture. They don't like the high school kind of environment. They're like, this is where I go to relax and chill. And there are people who are trying to take this hobby and do things with it. And they're just
you ran a gaming community with a bunch of fucking boomers?
I would say I didn't run it, but I helped manage it. There was a lot of boomers. A lot of I would say the majority of the gamers were in between 30 and 50.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, amazing group of people. They just didn't want anything to do with Twitch or streaming. I mean, I don't blame them, you know, but it's kind of hard to have that conversation because there are people who don't understand what people like us are trying to do with like a hobby. Like this isn't just we're trying to be famous. This is how we express ourselves. This is a creative expression, and we're just trying to find our place in the world. You know, it's not all just about like the fame and the numbers. And it's hard to sit down and be like, yeah, you know, I understand why you don't want to play games with me because the only time I play games is when I'm live on stream. And it made a lot of hard conversations. And I know for a fact that that's what drove a wedge in between. I will say most gamer acquaintances, but a couple good friends that I don't talk to anymore just because of the shit that brewed in between all that.
For the record, I understand, because I was reading Twitch chat, that the word boomer is not people that are... I use the word boomer as someone who's just acting like a boomer, even if they're not actually a boomer. Do y'all do that too?
Yes.
He's one of those old guys that's like, oh, I'm also a millennial, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm also a millennial.
I actually am, but only by like 6 months.
Yeah.
Chat, I love you, but Jimmy, I'm not looking at chat, so I don't know who it is. My community has the inability to realize when I'm joking. Like I tried, I said that Portland was the windy city. Chad, no, it's Chicago. It's not Portland, it's Chicago. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm pretty sure it's Portland. No, it's Chicago. I'm like, oh my, so don't mind them.
So to cap off that conversation about streaming and like that transition, there's also on the flip side, there are people that are like the toxic streamer, right? So like,
we call the flip side the flippy flip.
Yeah, the flippity floppy, right?
So
on the flippity flop. Yeah, right on that corner. It's like going to a party and then you invite someone or like you go out and do something with a friend and the whole time they're like making TikToks, making Instagram posts, tweeting about it. And it's like, are you here because you want to be here? Or are you here just because you want to post about it, right? So I think that it comes like, obviously none of you guys are those people, but I think at the same time, like there's a negative perception about streamers that's kind of the same thing. Like people just want to play games. And I think if you're like being the streamer, you also have to appreciate that people are doing that. Like there's so many times, like obviously people get super toxic while playing games and stuff like that. But there's so many times that like people interject into the conversation and say, whoa, dude, hey man, I'm streaming, if you can talk less or something like that. It's like, dude, just figure your shit out. Like that is up to you to like police what ends up on your stream. If you don't want to have voice comms, if someone's talking the whole time, then just shut voice comms off. Like it's that simple. But like, I feel like some people try to meld or like form the gaming community around their stream instead of just having their community or their gaming or their stream adhere to like what already exists within the gaming world, right? So you kind of have that balance, you know. You just gotta be the streamer that isn't destroying the lobbies, every single lobby, by being like, hey, come to my Twitch stream. Oh, dude, yeah, I'm also streaming, by the way. Hey guys, if you check out my stream, you can check out that last clip. That is like the most fucking annoying stuff ever, man. It drives me crazy. Cool. I actually thought you were saying that, Jimmy, because I wasn't looking at you.
For the first like one or two, I thought.
Yeah.
You were. And then I was like, wait.
So when me, 42, and Vans play Vans together, fucking hell,
Vans.
Play Vans. We are playing Vans.
Hold on. Take a breath. Look, we need to stop what we're doing right now because you missed a very important question that we forgot to ask Gray.
Cool.
And we've already been doing this for 33 minutes, so let's ask this now. Gray, question. Your favorite bird. Go.
Raven.
Okay. Well, in the next 5 seconds, what you're going to do is you're going to do a physical and sound impression of a raven. Don't think about it. First thing that comes to mind, that's what you do. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
I can't remember which bird I'm doing.
Why are you chicken winging, Greg?
That's just how I. Is that what Raven? Is that what Gray did? Did she chicken wing too?
I did this.
I mean, to be fair, I was clapping, so I think we can give her a pass here.
Yeah.
I don't think birds clap.
But you always clap. You always do this little.
Oh, true.
Yeah, you just.
That's what birds
you do
in my mind. That's how they fly.
Yeah, they clap. They clap.
Yeah.
I thought you were.
All right. We can now move forward with the podcast. I feel much better about this.
Okay.
I feel like at the end of this year, we need to somehow go back. You need to pay a little overtime to one of your editors to go clip all the bird scenes and splice them all together from all the guests.
Do you know what I love about this bird thing? Is it's something that Jimmy is so passionate about, and clearly Knackers and I have already moved past it like 15 podcasts ago, but he tortures us now at this point by bringing this shit back every single time.
Hey, man, it's funny, okay?
We can't let him make the sounds on his own. I mean, you know, we're best friends.
It's not as funny.
Maybe we do it one time.
When Vans and 42 and I play Rocket League, they both have Go XLRs, and they've been taking clips of people saying stupid shit, and they'll interject it at different times. It is so crystal clear that I can't tell when somebody is either just talking normally or if it's a sound effect. And it's like every time it happens, it's a little jarring because I don't know if I should respond or not. So I'm always sitting there going, totally, dude. Yeah. And now I'm the only one here without a Go XLR. How sad.
Loser.
I don't have one either because I'm not a moron.
Whoa!
I didn't want to spend $500 for a soundboard and a shitty
I only
audio.
spent like $300.
Ooh.
No, mine was like 400.
Yeah,
I paid like
I think
$600
they're
now.
more around 400.
I paid $400.
they're fine.
Mine.
But Jimmy, you got yours before the new tariffs kicked in.
Yeah. Yeah. I got mine. I got mine almost 2 years. It's been almost 2 years.
Is it?
I think.
No,
a year.
Oh yeah. There's no way.
It's been almost a year. Yeah, I got it last year.
The one cool
Around
thing,
this time last
Because
year.
it came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
the coolest thing about Go XLRs that I didn't know is that their levers are robotic. Like they move.
Motorized.
Yeah, motorized. They go like whoop whoop. That's sick. That's the coolest.
Levers.
That's the
Very
only
nice.
useful part about the Go
They're
XLR.
called slidey
No, dude,
thingies.
it's whatever. I'm not even gonna get. You're trying to draw me in an argument, you son of a bitch. I'm not falling for it.
But anywho, so usually we have like a couple real hard-hitting topics to get into for this podcast, but there hasn't been shit that has gone on for the past week or even the past 2 weeks. So we just kind of have like a couple little things that we wanted to touch on. So BishopGp, Mr. UMG himself, Dr. UMG Gaming, you had something you wanted to touch on, so go for it.
So I was
Wow,
actually
a triple dab right before that?
Yeah, well, I usually dab my way into any conversation. That's usually how I open the door. It's like trade shows and everything, just dabbing on people.
I have to say, if you're an audio-only listener to this, you probably miss out on about half the gags, okay? I mean, you missed out on the triple dab. You're going to only think about it in your mind now.
Yeah.
Just imagine what it was like
experience.
seeing.
You got to catch this thing live if you want the full experience.
Was it slow? Was it fast? Was it left-handed? Was it right-handed?
Don't know.
You'll never know because you don't know if this is flopped. Oh, I guess you do because of that. So I was actually talking to my buddy Crispy, former Fortnite pro for CLG. For the first time in a while, we were playing some games together over the last weekend. And one thing that we were just kind of going back and forth about Twitch and about gaming and YouTube and all this other fun stuff. But one topic that kind of came up that was a little bit interesting was like kids content on YouTube was such a massive thing and still is such an enormous thing as far as viewership goes. Like with Baby Shark, that was something on his stream and what kind of spewed or started this this conversation. And it was just kind of a meme at the time. But like kids content, such a massive thing. And I feel like YouTube already had its boom in kids content, kids gaming content. Like if you go to any kid nowadays that has an iPad, their parents hand them an auto playlist that's just playing content over and over and over again, and it's all this weird animation and stuff like that. But they all have like billions and billions of views or millions of views. Some of them getting up to billions of views. But what I'm wondering is, what is it going to be about Twitch that attracts that audience? Like, is there going to be like 24-hour channels that are just playing kids content? Is that ever going to happen? If it does happen, like, what are those games that are going to be like just a 24-hour loop of gameplay? Like, is it going to be Fall Guys that it's just like a stream, kind of like the Wendy's streams that you see, where it's just someone playing it, no voiceover, just gameplay? So that was my thought.
I don't think so, because at least not for young kids. Isn't the minimum age where you're supposed to, the user agreement is like 13 or something? Yeah. So, and the main reason for that would be the chat. You know, so how would you possibly fucking moderate that, right? So I don't think there's going to be anything close to that for young kids on Twitch. I could see them making a block of something for like the teenager crowd. I could see that happening on Twitch, that they run that 24/7. But look at that. Okay, look at that Venn thing that just started recently, right? When they're doing their live content, they get pretty decent numbers. When it's not live, it's less than 100.
Right.
A lot of the time. Like, I'll see it up and I'm like, damn, I know plenty of people that aren't even partner streamers that have better numbers than this. You know what I mean? And this is a highly produced show. This just goes to show you the draw to Twitch is the live content, not the, you know. Anyway, sorry, tangent. Go ahead.
I think the only, go ahead, Gray.
No, go ahead.
I'll go again.
I don't.
No, you go ahead, Gray. Gray,
do it, Gray.
Jimmy, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, Gray, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I wonder if it were possible for them to create accounts that have like very limited like parental type of settings on it. So if you put in your birthday, you can still have an account, but you can't like ever see chat. You can't participate in chat. It's just a viewing with like specific categories kind of a thing. But that's like so extra. I don't think they would do that shit.
Nah.
But
yeah, that changes the experience of the platform, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But would Twitch do it to just rake in revenue to be able to attack that target market is the real question. And the answer to that is fucking yes, they would.
If they could find a way to do it that worked, yes, I agree. You're right.
I think that the only way that they could actually do that is have channels that have no pre-approved, pre-recorded content that is shown live, or and to not have chat whatsoever. There is no chat because they can't police that, and to have a pre-recorded part, a VOD side of Twitch, which I'm very surprised that Twitch has not gotten into that yet.
Me too, and I'm kind of annoyed by it.
I'm very
they could
annoyed.
have a much better system at this point for VODs. Like they have collections, they have highlights, their editing tool is quite wonderful, I think at least. Like at this point, it's definitely like gotten much better.
Yeah.
But they need to have way more options with the VODs.
Man, I don't really care because I don't really do any of that shit. The only thing I highlight these days when I beat a game, like I'll highlight the winning run of a game I beat, or
It's like once a year.
you know what? You go. By the way, what did Casey write me tonight? That'll make me feel better.
I think she just gave you a heart tonight. So yeah, not much, honestly.
That's it, just a heart.
Yeah, not much
Yeah, heart
content, just like your
wonderful.
VODs, only once a year.
Wow.
Oh, we didn't go over what we were drinking. We illuminated Gray's bottle. So Gray, did you say exactly what you were drinking other than just what bottle you had?
It's just the White Walker blended Scotch whiskey limited edition.
And Gray is hardcore. I've been watching her drink. She's been drinking it directly from the bottle. That's it. I mean, it's straight out of the bottle.
Damn, audio listeners.
There's nothing else. All right,
Missed
for you again. You're missing out.
I see an IV bag behind her. Is that what she's injecting? It's just like a...
that way she can continue to drink because you're getting hydrated at the same time.
All right, we'll save the best for last. MiddleAgedStream. What are you sipping on?
You see what he did there? You go, Jimmy. Best for last. You go. Speak up.
No, you go.
No.
Do you have a
spit it
handwritten
out.
note,
Use your words
Jimmy?
out. Use your words.
Oh, I didn't get a handwritten note.
Exactly.
So I'm drinking this thing called Shotgun.
Oh,
It's spiked seltzer. This flavor is ranch water, agave and lime. It's called ranch water. It's a Texas thing.
Okay.
It's called fucking Shotgun, you stupid idiot.
I think
It's got
Shotgun the
agave and
shotgun?
lime.
who's
Yo,
stupid now? The title of the beer is Shotgun with 2 words and a capital G in the middle.
You know what? You go fuck yourself. All right, I'll tell you that. So it's agave and lime. It tastes like a real this is my new favorite thing. And to make it even better, to know that it's really, really good, check out the ABV at the bottom. Can you read that?
69, baby.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, nice.
Ranch water. That sounds... How did you look
That's
at that
a
and you're
name.
like, that's going to be
Because
really
I read
good.
the ingredients, you doofus.
But
Okay,
what
I read
about
the
his
ingredients.
ranching?
There's a thing called reading. I
don't do
know
that.
you will just drink anything handed to you by your girlfriend without
Right,
knowing
right.
what's in it, except that she writes you a note to tell you what's in it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I like to actually do this thing called reading. And I look at the ingredients myself and I decide if that's what I want.
You look
Okay,
at it
so
and
go
you say ranch
suck a
water.
lychee.
You say ranch
No, you suck a
water.
lychee,
That's what
all
I
right?
want. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Go suck a lychee.
For a second, I thought saving the best for last was a meme until you said ranch water. But I think that they should have had you go first, and then Gray, and then me.
Yeah. And well, he was reading the label and he said, "Okay, beer, ranch water, agave." Oh, I've heard Bishop talk about agave in his drinks all the time. This must be good. Snatch.
So yeah, I have a beautiful mason jar here made by Casey. Not the jar, but the drink. It's got spiced toffee apple cider with Strolly cider. I don't know what that says. Toasted cinnamon toffee syrup. And there's a heart on the back. I think that's for Jimmy, but I might be wrong there. Casey might have to clarify.
How large is her alcohol accoutrements cabinet?
Well, I don't know what accoutrements means, so I'm going to go ahead here and be offended based on the based on
Read
your
the
language.
vocabulary book,
Your
Vincent.
language, sir. But her cabinet's not that big. I think we only have like a single shelf, maybe like yay big, which is probably the size of like an Xbox, an old Xbox, with just like a few bottles of different alcohol. Old Xbox. We're talking like this big. I don't know how wide my camera is.
Oh, yeah.
The chunky
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, the big, the black one with the
boy.
green circle.
Got
at
the
the
big
top.
X.
Yep, the big
X gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
I just heard that song. I think it was in a Twitch highlights video. Speaking of VOD content, my favorite VOD content right now is to watch Grand Theft Auto 5 RP highlights from Summit When G's stream. I absolutely love watching RP content from Summit's perspective. I don't really watch any other RP content, but he does a lot of racing, and the cops get involved in races, and they do different kind of races and stuff. It's so fucking cool to watch. I know I made that sound really interesting, so you're welcome.
You did. Good job.
I as a lot of you saw on Twitter, went on a whiskey binging purchasing parade a couple days ago. So I've said this so many times, but one of my favorite things about social media is being able to open the app, post a question, and just get answers from all over the world. It's one of the greatest things ever. So I put out, hey, I'm going to the store to buy some whiskey. What should I get? I got so many answers. I wrote them all down in a notes app, and then I kind of went through, and I started Googling bottles so I could see what they looked like. So when I went to the store, I could see if they were there or not. And so I picked up 3 different bottles. I got this Woodford Reserved double. I always wanted to say double baked. It's fucking double oaked. Is this the like OG Woodford?
I think so.
Like this is the Jack Daniels.
I was only introduced to Woodford to like maybe a year or 2 ago, so I didn't know about that one really. I'm relatively new to the whiskey game. I've only been drinking whiskey for 3 years or so. 3 or 4 years regularly. I mean, you know. So I think that is, but it's a good. I mean, if not, it's close to it. And Woodford's a great. It's a great. It's kind of like upper mid tier toward upper flavor wise. It's price wise, it's still like mid tier, but it's flavor wise, it matches all the upper mid tier whiskeys.
So I agree because it's fantastic. I got this. I got a bottle of Elijah Craig, and then I got the Jefferson's Barrel of the Sea, Ocean of the Barrel of the Ocean. Can't remember the exact. It's something like that. And the coolest part about it was it on the bottle itself. It had a little tag with a story of the ship, the weather conditions, and the journey that this barrel went on all around the world on this ship.
That's cool.
Coolest shit ever. So that's what I'm drinking right now. I'm just drinking it on the rocks. I love old fashions. Old fashions are like my absolute go-to. I'm trying to drink less sugar, and I'm trying to dress up the whiskey less because I want to taste the whiskey for what it is. So I've just been throwing an ice cube in there and sipping on it, and it has been fantastic. I'm a big fan.
I've got a couple of. I need to do this probably the next time I visit, but for sure beforehand, I got a couple of whiskey and food combo things that I could send you that you would probably like.
Yes, I actually still have one bottle from when you were here 2 years ago, and it's the Glenlivet 12-year. That's
like mid-low.
Yeah,
tier.
It doesn't taste that great. That's why I haven't.
No, it's like definitely drink that on the rocks. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So going back to your original point, Bishop, about the anti-boomer content on
Whiskey
Twitch.
for children. Yes.
Yeah.
This podcast.
I definitely don't think that there is a place for it in the way Twitch is right now.
Why are you looking at me weird?
So there was a lot of police sirens, and they stopped right outside my house, and now there was blinking lights. We had I was sleeping on the couch earlier today, and there was an explosion outside of our house. We don't know what it was. Like, we looked out the window, and all the neighbors were like, "What was it?" Like, everybody's just like waving their hands at each other. Like, what was it?
Was that you?
Neighbor
Was that you,
syndrome.
Johnny? You motherfucker! I told you.
Good, man.
Those fireworks away, son. You're gonna blow off your fucking hand just like your dad.
It's the only time neighbors tolerate each other is when there's an explosion or a foreign noise and everybody comes out on their front porches.
It's like I don't think he was the greatest comedian, but there's some comedy of his that is so spot on. Dane Cook, the sketch with the accident at night and all the neighbors in their robes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the way he describes it is literally what happens.
Yep. The guy that gets hit by a bike skit.
Yeah. Well, and I was hit by a bike, and like I'm just out here in my robe, and I'm just funny.
Any more? I like that. Any more thoughts on the YouTube content, VOD content?
If you thought, okay, just to wrap it up super quick, if you thought that there was going to be
something that you will have never done,
I'm going to ace it right here. If there was one game that you think could turn into that content, if there had to be one game that was played 24/7 that kids were going to consume, what would that content be?
Roblox
or Fall Guys or
Yeah.
Fortnite. Honestly, they're already there.
Yeah. My son plays Roblox and Fortnite almost exclusively. Like, those are the two games he plays 90% of the time.
Yeah.
He's 9.
Here's my question. Do you guys honestly think that kids at that age are interested in watching or playing?
Playing.
I think watching, like we have a 7-year-old nephew and he watches like Grand Theft Auto playthrough videos and stuff. I mean, like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be watching it, but
It's okay. He'll be fine.
like,
He'll be fine.
like watching people react to it ultimately. So,
Okay.
like watches stuff like that.
I think they'll be watching. I think it's watching for sure. Like my nephew, who's now 4 years old, almost 4 years old. He just watches on his iPad all day long. Like even if he's playing with his own cars, he'll have an iPad there playing something. And in most cases, when he was younger, it's just a playlist of these YouTube animations where like they have like Spider-Man, Batman, but they're like the worst models, worst like design. Like the technical aspect of the animations are terrible. It's the same rigging, so like they do the same actions, and then they just swap the action heroes out. So it's like Spider-Man versus Batman. In a Lego world, or like, and then they swap it out with different characters behind, right? So it'll be like Spider-Man versus Wonder Woman, or like some character from a show versus Batman.
Well, when I was saying playing, what I meant is, I'm not saying I know because my kid consumes a ton of YouTube content, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down at the end of the day, my son would like his favorite thing to do is to be playing a game on the computer like Roblox or Fortnite, and then he'll have his little buddies on a Zoom call or Discord call with him while he's playing.
That's awesome.
so cute.
Yeah, they
funny.
Zoom together.
I love
Dude,
it.
you know what my son was doing last night? And I was laughing.
Teabagging.
I hadn't seen it. No, he wasn't teabagging. No, he was in his room, and he was it was him and like 4 of his buddies were on a Zoom call together. It was just a bunch of little boys in their rooms. And they were showing off to each other their Nerf guns, and then they were like shooting at they're all like 8, 9 years old, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like,
That's
I was like,
awesome.
oh man.
It's like the middle-aged
Even
stream
in
just joins
COVID,
the-
kids find ways to get together and play and stuff. That's cool.
I mean, if I'm being honest, and I know no parent is going to agree with me whatsoever, but I think this is actually a great way to get technology into a kid's life early. Like, think of the step ahead that this is going to do for kindergartners and for first graders in utilizing technology for education a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
There are kids, I think, at the schools that I work at now, there are kindergartners and first graders who take their state tests on an iPad. They sit there and they use an iPad by themselves and they take a test. What the fuck? Like,
yo, that's what my son's been doing for years. Our school district, it's a 1-to-1 iPad initiative, and all kids have an iPad, and they do. I mean, we were set up actually kind of about as good as you could be when COVID happened, because all of our students had iPads, and we could just send them what we needed to. I mean, it was great.
How does that feel being like a father where your son's doing his tests on an iPad when you're still doing your taxes on a Leapfrog?
Go fuck yourself, Bishop. Go fuck yourself.
oh god. Anyways, MiddleAgedStream, you had some talking points you wanted to touch on. We are all awaiting with open arms and ears.
Okay. All right. So it's funny you were talking about the whole try hard thing earlier with multiplayer and all that.
Oh,
so you
no.
guys know me. I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. Like I don't do that. It's just not me. I don't stream a lot. If I'm playing a multiplayer or anything, I'm not streaming it usually. Okay. I mean, aside from like Jackbox stuff and whatever, that's different, right? So I've been playing that Star Wars Squadrons game, that Squadrons multiplayer. I played it the other night. I think it was Friday night. Yeah, it was Friday night. I've been playing it since release, like every couple of days. And I have a friend of mine, a good friend of mine that I used to, we're still great friends. We went to high school together. That's how long we've been friends. And he lives in New York City. He's an opera singer. And we used to play the old X-Wing versus TIE Fighter game on PC on a fucking dial-up modem.
With our penises.
Yeah. We used to play the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter on a dial-up modem and just dominate people, right? And then we got into this Star Wars Squadrons, and we spent the other night, we were just dominating our first couple of nights playing it, and then the other night we were just getting cinnamon rolled, and we just started I was yelling at our freaking squad mates, so because you got to have a full squad's like 5 or 6, But our squad mates were a bunch of fucking idiots. They were terrible, and it was just we were just not having much success. And I know what you mean because I was not having fun. Like we ended up not playing after like an hour. You know, we were like, okay.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
What are these fucking idiots doing?
Yeah, man. It like totally ruined the experience. It was like, all right, I'm going to bed. You know? So I just wanted to share that experience that I know, even though I don't play a little multiplayer, I have had that experience from time to time where it's not as fun when you're just getting your shit kicked in for an hour straight, right? And then today I was moving because we're moving all this stuff out of our old house. I was packing boxes and stuff, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, I wanted to go back and listen. I was like, what was the first podcast I was on? And so I scrolled all the way back and found out I was on Crocs and Hot Package 27, a 1v1 you did. It was back in June of 2017, so it was a little over 3 years ago. And I ended up listening to the entire podcast while I was moving today, like from over 3 years ago. And you would not believe all of the topical things we talked about on that podcast that are still not only relevant now, but have been things that we've talked about since.
You have a creeper.
Oh my God,
cat.
cats.
Oh my God.
So cute.
I didn't even know she was in here.
You could see her eyes fucking
Yeah.
beaming.
I didn't even know she was in here. Hey, kitty. Anyway.
You're also the first. This is the first podcast in your new place, right?
Yeah. I was saying that when, of course, we were waiting for you, but yeah, I'd mentioned that when we were waiting for you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And I'm honored that you debuted it on this podcast. Oh my God, all my monitors just wasn't asleep. I'm having so much fun. I haven't touched the mouse in 20 minutes. That your own community didn't get to see your house before we all did.
It's true. You know?
So what were some of those? Do you remember what some of those topics were?
Yeah, so we talked about No Man's Sky. Well, we talked about No Man's Sky for half of these episodes. But we talked about pre-orders, which we've again talked. It was as E3 was just starting was when you had me on. So we talked about Battlefront 2 and what our hopes were for Battlefront 2. Yeah. And then we also talked about how much I worked when I coached. And you were, and you're like, how do you keep that up? I'm like, I don't know. I said, I feel like in a few years, at least, I'll probably not be, and so it was just a lot of stuff that it was somewhat prescient. A lot of the things that we had discussed, it was a lot of little things, Yeah. And so I thought it was cool, man. It was an enjoyable listen. And, it was right as the affiliate program had started. So it had just become possible to get bits. That was what they implemented first, where they implemented subs, which they did, like, they just sprung on everyone the next month, I remember. It was just like, all of a sudden, oh, here you go. You get an emote and whatever. And yeah, it was an interesting podcast, and I very much enjoyed listening to it. And I did find it. I was smiling while I was working in my office today because I was like, oh, man, that seems like forever ago, but that was a little over 3 years ago.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Gray, when we were talking about video games, as far as like playing games on stream, like be multiplayer or single player, do you have any games right now that you do not play on stream as a preference?
Fortnite is a definite.
Oh, you still play Fortnite?
Well, I haven't played it in a long time, but like after a while of streaming it, I stopped. I was like, I'm not gonna stream this. I'm just not streaming it. Like, if I were to play it, I would play it off stream, but I just haven't touched it probably since the last season. But I don't think there's any game in particular aside from that I'm like, I will not stream it, but I will play it. It's very rare that I allow myself to play games off stream. I kind of have only been allowing myself to do that more recently, just so that like the people that I typically play multiplayers with on stream, I just feel bad to do it all the time on stream, and that be the only time I get to play with those friends on stream. So I try to take like a day that I have off and like allow like a couple of hours to play with them, just so that they have that like non-streaming worry. But no, I don't think there's anything else other than Fortnite.
I struggle with that a lot because I feel like with how limited my stream time is these days, I feel like if I'm playing video games and I'm not streaming it, because it would be like 1 of 2 gaming streams a week. And I'm like, fuck, I only get to game 3 days out of the week. Two of those are on stream, and like that third one, it's like, oh, like should I stream it? Should I not? And I know that like my best friends, my girlfriend, they don't care. They've told me over and over and over again they don't care. But it still subconsciously changes things. Like when somebody's live.
Yeah,
it was fun as fuck playing Left 4 Dead 2 and Fall Guys with y'all the other night.
Yes,
that was awesome, man. That was a really good time.
I had a blast. I've been really enjoying because like you, Jimmy, I went a long time just playing single player games where I didn't do a lot of multiplayer stuff on stream. I want to say that Rocket League was kind of the first thing where I played that on stream all the time, and I never played Rocket League by myself. In the past 5 years, I've streamed more Rocket League by myself in the past couple months than I have ever in like my entire career.
Well, and I feel like Bishop and Gray have been the opposite, because the times I see y'all stream, most of the time y'all are playing a multiplayer game. You know, usually when I see Gray streams, it's usually a multiplayer game, and same when Bishop was streaming regularly, it was the same. You know,
I think now I don't play multi, like I mean I'm not streaming very often, but now I feel like I have more of an inclination to play a single player game on stream than I do a multiplayer game, just because like I'm like you, Jimmy. I resent the idea that you don't play multiplayer games because you've been playing multiplayer games since you were pushing your front bum against a crate, or what do you call it, a cabinet, when you were a kid with quarters. So it's like
Front bum?
Yeah, taking your front bum and just plunging it against and like leaning back.
I was like, what is he talking about? Front?
Yeah,
okay.
Just arcade gamer, dude. Because Jimmy likes to be able to smell his opponent and look in his eyes after he's completely decimated him.
It is a totally different experience playing Street Fighter at an arcade cabinet than playing a Street Fighter match online where you're not next to the same person. Even if it was just in the same room. But there's a certain type of tension when you see when the person's right next to you and you're like jostling each other's arms a little bit as you're doing the special moves. Like there's something special about those types of multiplayer moments. Or like Ninja Turtles and playing it in the arcade and like being there with your buddies. I mean, I'm a little sad that that's something that kids today will never really experience unless they're like our kid and we have arcade cabinets at home that he can play on. So.
Well, esports are filling that void just a little bit, you know, like playing
to a degree. To a degree. But even then, a lot of that's done remotely, especially in COVID days, obviously.
Yeah. And everybody's a tryhard in esports. There's no fun Teenage Mutant Ninja Titty squashing left and right.
Yeah,
you know,
but I think like when it comes to streaming, like playing multiplayer games for me, like because I get so competitive, and that's where I was making the comparison with Jimmy, because I think Jimmy would be the same way if he played multiplayer games where he's just screaming at his teammates. Like I am like extremely vocal the entire time I'm playing, and whenever, and you guys all know this, like when you're streaming, your brain power is reduced to like 10%, right, of your normal capacity.
2%. Yeah.
I'm the best.
Speak for yourself, Gray.
Yeah. So it's
I'm at least 5.
So it's funny because like I now play like a ton of Rogue Company and some other games, but Rogue Company is like the one thing that I've been like grinding, or not really grinding, just playing, taking seriously. And like I'm thinking about streaming it, but at the same time, like I focus and I'm talking the whole time to my teammates that to me it's like there's no time to interact with chat. And in a way, like I always say, like stream whatever you want and people will come and watch you. But at the same time, I know for a fact that people come to my stream to interact with me. And if I'm playing something seriously, like when I used to play Siege or any like hardcore multiplayer games or ranked multiplayer games, it's like there's no time for break, right? Like I'm making call outs, like Siege especially, you die and then you're spectating. So you're making call outs from cameras and everything. And Rogue Company's kind of the same thing. So like Fortnite, the differentiation there is you build a 1x1 and you sit there and you look at chat and you're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Until you hear someone like, like building his walls up next to you. So, I've been like the stuff that I have done, like playing racing games and Banjo. That's like,
well, the things you just mentioned too. And that's one of the reasons why I've been so reluctant to play much more. You lose an element of control, whether you're losing control of being able to have those conversations with the chat, because there's so much truth to the game choice and the flow you have as a streamer. Yep. If you play a game you've never played before and you have no idea if you're playing a game blind, that's a multiplayer game. Boy, you got some big balls as a streamer because you don't know what the flow is going to be like.
Yep.
You know, you can hear from everyone, but every game has a different type of flow. There are certain games like Fortnite that give the opportunity to, I think that's why it became so popular. There are some down moments in the game where you can interact and do that. There are moments where you can do the try hard shit or whatever. So I get why streamers and people, they choose or don't choose a game based on what their comfort factor is on being able to talk with chat. Me, I play a lot of single player games because I like to be in total control. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be, if I want to pause the game for 30 minutes and fuck off, I can do it. And it doesn't affect anyone around me. It doesn't hurt anyone. Whereas if I'm multiplayer, I'm locked in once I'm playing the game. Like, I can't do anything else. And I think part of that when I'm streaming also, it adds a level of stress that I just don't want.
Yeah.
You know?
I get that.
And I guess I went psychology lesson on myself, just ninja'd my brain. But I think that's one of the reasons why I admire you, Grace, so much is that you mainly do multiplayer and you do such an amazing job of that. And I know that requires so much attention and so much to be able to, like, I'm listening to this, I'm seeing Twitch chat, I'm doing all this and monitoring OBS and the game and everything. I'm like, how does she do it? I can't do it like that.
What I think is kind of, well, thank you, I appreciate that. I think what's kind of funny is I know whenever I try to make a point to talk to everybody for like an hour before I start doing anything, but I also try to schedule, like, okay, being as I used to make like playthrough videos and stuff on YouTube, not just like dumb, fun, whatever, play for fun kind of a thing. I have that mindset of like, okay, if I start a game, I want to I want to complete it, like play until completion kind of a thing. And I feel like I've been definitely leaning more heavily on multiplayer just because I just don't want to get into a story lately. And I think it's like, I feel like I lean on multiplayer because I get to spend time with friends and play games and kind of escape like I used to, like back in like high school when I played World of Warcraft with friends a lot too.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
Yeah.
No, there's a flip side of it too, and that's why, again, I think it's awesome. You've been able to turn it to where you know how to frame your conversations to where you can provide entertainment from the people you're playing with, and you guide conversation well and do all that sort of stuff. Like, I just socially, I'm not at that same sort of level to be able to like hold a multiplayer stream sort of thing together. Now, if you have me by myself where I can just be my weird self, I can do that all fucking day, you know?
We love that.
But to do it with other people, I'd be a wreck. I would just not be very good. That's why y'all never see me do that.
I think that's kind of where I'm at, like crossroads wise with Twitch, is I felt like I've tried so hard and so long to be that type of person where it's like, be interactive with chat all the time, react to everything as much as possible, put on a show nonstop. And now I'm getting to this point where I'm like, okay, you know what? And I'm kind of seeing it in my watching habits as well. Like, I love watching somebody like Summit because it is Summit and gameplay for like 4 hours. And then it's a half hour of him watching YouTube videos and eating or whatever. And then it goes right back to just like gameplay. And I'm starting to kind of figure out like, okay, like, what do I like to watch? Why do I like to watch it? Why don't I tailor my stream towards stuff like that? And just in the past couple weeks of playing Rocket League, I'm starting to realize like, yes, my chat interaction is way down. The ability to do like, I've kind of stopped doing all of my different scenes and different skits, like with Bozo and all of it. It's all the stuff that I used to do. I haven't done since I took my streaming break. Like, I used to kind of really get into that stuff. And now it's like, I turn on the camera, I talk to chat for a good bit, and then I've just been playing games like Rogue Company and Roko. Games that I've stayed away from because I was afraid that losing that chat interaction and the story time and the conversation. But I'm getting to the point now where it's like, I don't care anymore. It's been so long. I'm doing what I want, and we're just going to go from there. And it's been interesting because, as I've seen, I can play Rocket League for 8 or 9 hours straight and just go and go and go and go. And I fucking love the people that love to watch it because I love playing it. But yeah, it's like you go in phases of like what you want to put out and what you want to consume and finding the balance in between the two. And it's definitely an interesting part but it's also the scariest part of trying to be a content creator as well.
For sure.
Gray, do you have a preference between multiplayer and single player games, or do you like doing both?
I like doing both. I kind of like, I just like having the ability to kind of say, what do I feel today? And I like the idea of like scheduling certain days. I used to have it scheduled where like Monday was a different day, like every single day was something different. So it would be like just talking. We just play a campaign type game, multiplayer day, just having fun with friends kind of day. And I kind of want to go back to that, but I like being able to bounce around between it all, I think.
Bishop, did you used to schedule games in advance?
I don't think so. I think that like when I was at my peak, before I fell off into obscurity and dabbing, I think that there's been times where I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna play this game, and then I start getting into it, and I like pressure myself to not play the game off stream because, like, let's say it's a storyline game, I will pressure myself not to play it off stream because I'm afraid people are going to miss some sort of context during the gameplay. And then what that does is it forces me to play other stuff off stream that I would actually prefer to play realistically. Like a great example is like Rocket League or Roku, where like you just sit and you play it over and over and over again, and then it's like midnight and you're like, oh, okay, I've been playing for 9 hours. Cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
It's the greatest thing. So like, I used to schedule games a little bit, but then I realized that I'd play it like 3 streams, and then I'd be exhausted because of the pressure that I'd put on myself to like experience the game in the stream, if that makes sense. Like experience it while other people were watching it. And then I kind of just got to the point where I'm like, I feel like a lot of those games that I was playing, people had already played through, so all that they give a shit about is how I react to what they've already experienced, right? So games like Banjo Tooie, I played a little bit of it offline because I streamed it like 3 or 4 times. People they had a good time. I'm speaking for them. Hopefully I'm not lying, but people enjoyed seeing Banjo Tooie over again because it was something they enjoyed it as a kid, right? But then I was like, holy fuck! Like, there's a lot of stuff you have to do to be able to like move on to the next world. Like, you have to get these things called jiggies, which are like little puzzle pieces, and you need like X amount to move on to the next stage. And to figure out what you had to do, like there's like little mini games in each area, and sometimes I would like skip over one. So instead of like double backing and have to do that all on stream, I was just like, screw it, I'll do some of it offline. And doing that, I think, is a little bit more healthy. So like maybe doing some side quests in Skyrim while you're not streaming is not too bad because people won't really miss out on too much. But I think that the best thing about games like Roku, any like short-term game, Fortnite, where it's just like a short lobby, is like you could just play it offline. You want to play it because there's nothing people are really going to miss. It's just like it's something you are engaged in and something that you want to do. And like I go day by day, so like there might be a day where I'm like, hey, I want to play Skyrim today, but I don't want to commit to streaming it every day. And when I do that, it ends up falling apart anyways. So I think that's why like I stay away from those things now, and I just kind of do whatever comes to my mind.
Okay. I'm such a fork in the road with what games that I want to play on my stream. Right now, unfortunately, I'm only able to stream like on the weekends for the most part. I'm starting to get the idea that I can maybe do a stream during the day at some point, or during the week rather. But I get into the same mindset where it's like I have this massive backlog of all of these games, and it's not that I can't really separate it in my mind. It's not that I want to stream it because I want the content. It's because I know that there are so many people who love the game, and I want to play it because they love it. Because like I'm so confident that the reason that they love it might be a reason that I also love it too. And it's a huge reason why I stream single player games is because like I don't play single player games on my own anymore, ever. It's an experience to be able to play with an audience. And but then I kind of get down on myself because I don't play the game, or it gets pushed back and I get laser focused on something else. I'm like, shit, they were looking forward to it. And that back and forth is like too much for my tiny little heart to handle sometimes.
Too much pressure.
Yeah. So I've just been Rocket League. That's what it's like. I'm like in my mind, it's fucking Rocket League and podcasts. That's all I'm doing going forward.
Do you guys have do you guys have a hard time with like sometimes like I played WoW, like, and I know Gray, you played WoW too, where it's like I played WoW religiously for like this past year, and that was the only thing I played, and I got a extreme sense of like FOMO of the other. Like I felt bad because I was enjoying WoW so much that I was not playing other games. Do you guys also get that, where it's like you're spending so much time just playing, like, let's say Rocket League or Roku or WoW, that you're like, oh, maybe I should try something else, but in reality, like, you're having such a good time that like you're just pressuring yourself for really no reason.
Yeah, I get that all the time too. Like, I'm just like, I want to play a game because I love it, but then there's like all these there's so many new games all the time, and it's like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun, I want to try it, but like, I really love this one game.
Yeah.
Like, I could really love the new game.
Yeah.
And it could be content, but like, I love this one.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Mine comes down to time. It's like, I have 8 hours to game this week. Do I want to play the game that I know that I love, or do I want to take a chance on a new title and waste that time if it sucks? That's what I always come down to.
I'm I guess you can call me a boomer on this one, because I stick with what I know a lot of the time. And if someone really, really wants me to play it, I'll play it. And I like Fall Guys, I wouldn't have even played if someone hadn't gifted it to me. And I had fun playing it. But I play it here and there, but you know, it's the multiplayer thing again. Like the fact that I even bought a multiplayer game like on release should be like, wow, that's weird. But if I explain why to you guys, because it's like a buddy of mine used to play this. Like, he was texting me the day it came out, like, hey, did you get it yet? Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you fucking get it yet? I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm at work.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I will get it when I get home, okay? And but generally speaking, I don't ever feel that, because I know I can have such a great time playing so many different things that I'm not afraid of missing out on an experience. So
yeah,
I guess for me it's a no. I'm not saying that that's not a very real thing people feel, but I don't ever really feel that. I'm just like, if I get to it, I'll get to it. You know,
you're denying my feelings, Jimmy. This is a real
your feelings are valid. I'm just saying that I don't get FOMO. You know, I don't.
Okay,
get it.
boomer. Okay,
I think the FOMO is heavily influenced by Twitch culture. You know, and it's
maybe,
especially when
that
it comes to
could
single
definitely
player games. If you're not like a streamer with more than 100 viewers, good luck playing that game.
You bring up a good point. So this brings me back to Crocs and Hot Packets, episode number 27. I had just played a few months before that Mass Effect Andromeda, and I had gotten rated by someone who had been playing it. Did you just?
No, that was it's by default.
I was talking to Gray.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
By default,
was
if you say Mass Effect Andromeda, everyone's bowels just release themselves.
Oh,
so,
I see what you're saying.
Squatty potty
So
style.
on Crocs and Hot Pockets, episode number 27, Knackers asked the question, which was, what was the craziest thing that's happened? And I had a pretty basic bitch Becky answer, which is nothing's really crazy has happened to me. I've seen a few crazy things to other streamers. So the craziest thing that happened to me at the time was I had gotten rated on the night of release of Mass Effect Drama from some other bigger streamer, and I was holding like 100 plus, which to me, which is like a between 20 and 30 average streamer at the time, I was like, you know, I couldn't even imagine holding that many viewers, and it made me feel bad that I didn't really enjoy the game. You know what I mean? Like, I was playing it because I was excited about Mass Effect, and I didn't actually end up enjoying the game. I didn't even finish the game, you know, because I just, after about 20 hours, I was like, it's an okay game. It just wasn't catching me the way the trilogy did. So, yeah.
I'm an idiot. Why? Because you just said I didn't finish the game, and then you're like, I played it for like 20 hours, and my brain went, oh my God, he beat Mass Effect in 20 hours. He didn't finish the game, Knackers.
No.
I wanted, when you were talking earlier about Crocs and Hot Pockets, episode 27, I wanted to bring up a quick like story, which is just funny on how Jimmy and my relationship started. So Jimmy was introduced to me through my brother, Bad Robot, and they knew each other before me and Jimmy knew each other. And there was kind of this loose plan that MiddleAgedStream was going to come to Michigan and hang out with my brother and I. And so throughout the planning, and I want to say a day or maybe 2 days before,
it was a day or two before.
I reached out because I remember talking to my girlfriend at the time. Yes, girlfriend at the time, not current girlfriend. Yeah, the first time
No.
okay.
Yeah.
And so I
No,
remember
because Weenie came. It was the second time I was there when I met Weenie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I remember having the conversation in the backyard where you were like, dude, you are 10 times happier now than the last time that I was here. I remember that conversation. And so I remember having the conversation with my then girlfriend saying, there's this dude from the internet that is coming to Michigan in a couple days. And I have not heard anything about where he's staying. And I think that he thinks that he's staying with me. And she's like, well, you better reach out and clarify. Because, of course, my girlfriend didn't want some dude staying in the house that she didn't know. And so I remember reaching out going, hey, the MiddleAgedStream, because it was the back then, saying, where are you? Am I dropping you? I questioned it perfectly. Like, hey, after I pick you up from the airport, what hotel am I taking you to? And you were like, oh, well, I'm not really staying at a hotel. I'm like, oh, well, where are you staying? And he goes, oh, well, I thought I was staying with you. And I went,
well, you know why I said
no.
that, right? No. See, here's the part you got to back up. I was staying with your brother, Robot.
Right.
And a day or two before, he said that something had happened. I couldn't stay, but it was fine for me to stay with you. You were going to get me from the airport, and I was going to stay over there. He had told me like he had already cleared all this with you, which I guess obviously hadn't happened.
I still to this day never know what happened. It could have been his wife at the time just saying like, no, he's absolutely not staying here. But that was never ever communicated. And and there was a part in my mind where I'm like, I don't know this guy. And he is going to be here tomorrow, staying in my house. And it was very stressful. And then we picked him up. We went and got drunk somewhere in downtown little town, and it was a good time.
Oh, we had a great. There was no concern. It all worked out, obviously. But that is kind of funny. I would feel the same way, and I think you had told me that a year or two later about that whole thing. But that is
good times.
To kind of take the pressure off Knackers here for telling that story, Howie just stayed at our place at a Casey and I's place in Portland, and he came over, and up until I love Howie, like he's one of my favorite people on Twitch, or just in general, he's a great dude. I love Howie. He's hilarious, right? Super
dude.
dry. And up until I hate having anything disrupt anything to do with my day, right? Like anything at all. And I was dreading it up until the point that he got there, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? And then we just kind of hung out here and there, and he just did his thing. But even if it's someone that I know, like my family used to be like, and maybe this is because we used to have 3 bedrooms for the kids. And whenever someone would come into town from Canada, because all of our relatives were from Canada and we were in Arizona at the time, they would take one of our bedrooms, and it would always be my bedroom. So I think it's ingrained in me. Whenever someone comes to visit, they're ultimately going to be taking over my space, and then I'm just fucked for however long they're going to be there. So I have such a bad feeling whenever there's any plans. Like when I was solo when I was living on my own, I did like.
Oh, is that what solo means? Thank you.
By myself. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Not like hand
Gray,
solo.
are you good on that? Did you catch that?
Yeah,
Brett?
not like hand solo, like from your favorite sci-fi Star
That's
Trek.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
Okay, not hand. It's not a fucking hand.
It's hand solo. Yeah, his girlfriend's name is
Just
Jill.
Get fucking wrecked. Son. Oh, that's
being
it.
Bullied.
Good story.
That was it.
That was
I thought you were
I just
going
have a bad. I have a bad feeling about people or coming into my space just because of. I think it's because I was traumatized as a child when my cousins would take my fucking room, and then I wouldn't have my computer. But it would be fine because my mom planned it.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Gray, when's the last time that you had a sleepover with a good old friend?
Oh,
The face of disgust for the audio listeners.
No, I don't know. Wait, no. Maybe 2017.
Okay. So not too far away.
No.
Like 3 years
still a
ago
while
or
back,
so.
you know?
Yeah. I think I slept over like my best friend's house like we were kids still. But
Jimmy, you might have been our last sleepover.
Maybe. Well, it was last summer.
Yeah.
Was it just me last summer? I think it was.
Yeah.
Last summer was just me.
Yep.
Every other year there was always someone else.
Yep.
Do you guys ever? Casey's had this recently with like a friend that's not really a friend, but like they used to kind of be friends. But have you ever had someone that you haven't talked to in a long time? Maybe it's because you moved or something like that. But then they hit you up and they're like, "Hey, I'm coming to your town. Would you like to hang out?" And then you're like, "Oh, sure, yeah. If you come into town, let me know what's going on. Like, and we'll meet up." Like Jimmy is a perfect example of like the best way to meet people. He comes into town. He's like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do. Come and meet up." And then he just checks with you when he's there. Love Jimmy. He's the man. But it drives me crazy when like someone from Arizona is like, "Hey, I'm thinking about coming to Portland. If I can like, and we can hang out." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then they're like, "Yeah, if we can stay with you, if you guys can pick up us up from the airport." And I'm just like,
Oh.
"Well, I think I'm gonna be busy now."
Left on red. Yeah, that's always a tricky situation. Whenever somebody's like, "Can I stay the night?" I'm always like, "Ooh, like in my house?
My night
I
in
just
my
use
place.
my partner as an excuse. I'm like, "Oh, he works like
Yep.
real early. You can't do that.
There you
that
go.
Small space don't work."
Like I said, it all worked out early on. I think had it been a couple years later, if me and Knackers had been introduced, it might not have worked out that way because it was still when I had met you. You were still at that point where you're like young enough and whatever enough to be like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just kind of deal with it. Nowadays, 4 years later, 4+ years later, you might have thought about it a little differently. So
That kind of makes me sad in a way. Because
that's just part of
You're an old
part of growing
fuck
up,
now,
man.
Knackers. You're an old and
you old
shitty.
fuck boy. Oh fuck
I don't want to
boy.
get any
You curmudgeon-y motherfucker.
I love that word so much. Yeah, there are some times where I feel like when I meet new people, I sort of have this protective shell, like I already have my group and I'm not looking for any new applicants kind of thing. Or it's like, but before I met Jimmy or Gray or Bish, like I still had that group, but I right now I can't think of taking on any more homies or homettes, if that makes sense. Like, I'm open to it. I love playing with new people. I love making new friends. But like my group is already. It's not that it's full. Maybe it's just like my brain capacity is
To care
full.
about people, yeah.
To take on any more people. And so I feel like I kind of
in
close
order
myself
to add.
off.
There's an analogy that I like to refer to, and it's the same thing with memory. It's called the penguins on the island. You can only fit so many penguins on the island, and to make room for new penguins, you got to get rid of some other penguins. And so if you're happy with the penguins on your island, you don't want to get rid of any fucking penguins. Like no new penguins. Okay, that's the best way I guess I could mansplain it to another man. There you go.
Thank you.
It's hard to navigate different personalities too. It's like you're already like you're used to what you know now, and it's like, oh, new people, I don't know. They got like they might be, a little snappy for some reason to something that you and your group like, and they don't like, and they don't blend well, and then that's another thing to have to navigate.
You bring up a great point because you can have like your group, right? And then like somebody's starting to play with you a bunch and everybody's getting friendly. And then like something happens to where like a true personality trait comes out and everyone just goes,
whoa.
And nobody else is in the room because they're all in VoIP, but you're looking left and right. Like you're looking at your friends going, oh man, oh God. And you're like, I should have done it. I shouldn't have let them in. And it's never anything bad, but you're right. Cause there is like a certain comfort level little tribal circle that you have, and when there's something that is foreign that comes in, it's like, and I don't know, is that bad? Is it bad to have that kind of mentality?
It's called being human, man.
Yeah.
It's called being human.
It's kind of like just having like a little wall and worrying of like, do I want to have to navigate this? Like they're probably really great, but there's always that like small percentage or chance that they could possibly be a little bit more than
everybody everybody reacts differently to those sort of things, depending on if you're an extrovert, an introvert, and how you meet. Like for me, I wasn't worried at all because it was like, if I had any sort of weird vibe, I was just gonna catch a cab to a hotel. You know what I mean? Like I always had that in my back pocket where I could easily be like, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. You guys have to get some rest. I would have just, bowed out, and it would have not been you always have a backup plan, right?
Can you imagine if we didn't work out? Like where we would be today? Like who would be in this podcast? Honestly, Jimmy, this podcast would probably not exist if you didn't exist.
Oh, no, man.
No.
I think you'd still be it would be a different podcast.
Like
there'd be a lot more talk of butt stuff, I can tell you that.
Lots of butt
I wasn't
stuff.
on here.
Work out.
Yeah.
There was a point where I'm like, is this podcast going to work? Because for different reasons, for every guest that I had on, there was different reasons that I had to I don't want to say separate because I'm all still really good friends with everybody, but like break up with just for the podcast. And Jimmy was kind of like the lifeboat or the life jacket, or should I say, because I was starting to head down a path where I'm like, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to hold this up on my own. And not that you necessarily bring anything special or unique to the podcast,
all,
but
right.
No.
but you are a fantastic support person. Like to have their...
He's not a leader. He's just deathless.
I'm the Robin for your Batman.
Exactly.
Dude, he's trying so hard to say something nice and he just fucking...
Can't do it. I know, it is really difficult.
So anyways, like life jacket. But, it's like there are some people who you just being you and you being around just kind of like levels out playing field. And I know we can all think of people in our lives that just like them just being around just automatically make certain things better. So fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus makes your life better?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going a little
me
far.
every night.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. It's nice.
We loved Jesus.
Oh, you didn't let me finish my shit I was talking about. So, by the way, I played Domino last night for the first time in a while. By the way, on Crocs and Hot Pockets, episode 27, I talked about me playing Domino for the first time.
Oh,
Dominoes?
on that episode of Crocs.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, are you
So
saying
here we
domino
are,
or dominoes?
something-
Like the...
Domino. It's a game, a Steam game.
Okay.
And they added, I'm not trying to like brag here, but I thought this was crazy. So like they added all this stuff to the game since it came out. And it's always been a game with Twitch integration, right? They added a new feature where you can type in !hero and then you space and you can put a bit amount between 1 and 500 and it will automatically generate, if there's if there's an open space, it will generate a new gladiator with that person's name who put the bits in. And it gives them stats based off of how many bits they gave. So if you donate 500 bits, you've got like a really high stat gladiator. Like you're probably going to be a badass, right? If you only give 1 bit, your gladiator is probably going to die pretty fast.
Pay to win bullshit. What is
Scam.
that?
Yeah, but no,
Scam.
it's not just pay to win because there's so much RNG in this game. It was so funny. You know Sano Champ.
Yeah.
He's part of your community too. He's actually the one who gifted me Domino originally, and I just love the game. And he bought a $5 gladiator, and the first fight against a rando, like he's winning, and then he just got fucking wrecked, like died. And his $5 bit character was just gone. And I was like, oh shit, dude. Well, anyway, the point I was trying to make, there was so much, and this is something I was trying to do because I hadn't played it since they had put this update in. Dude, it was like $100+ in bits last night just because people were wanting to that's just the bits. I was like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But everybody wants so badly to be the gladiator, be the whatever, that just kind of it took me back. It threw me back a little bit. And then of course when I heard me listening to that episode today, I was like, fuck. It made me laugh.
How bad was the flow of the podcast back then?
it started slow because we didn't know each other as well as we know each other now, but it started slow. The first 30 minutes was kind of, but then after that, it was great. It was honestly really pretty good.
Okay.
No, it really, maybe I'm being a little biased because it's me and you, maybe.
That was probably the third or fourth podcast that I did with just one other person. Mm-hmm. That was very, very early on.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. Yeah, just looking at the camera angles, the hair, the lack of facial hair, the overlay. Sonder had made me that overlay way back in the day. That
was like from Street Fighter. It was like the E Honda background.
Yeah. Fucking nuts.
And then the only other thing I was going to say, I'm currently playing Castlevania 3 for the NES, which is the hardest Castlevania game, like the old classic Castlevania games. I've beaten 1, 2, 4, and Castlevania Bloodlines for Sega Genesis, which was the only Castlevania that came out for Genesis. I've beaten all those games. And I've beaten Symphony of the Night and a few others, but recently. And now I'm playing Castlevania 3. I've played it 4 days. And I'm on stage 6 out of 10.
It has looked like you have been playing the same Castlevania game for a month. There is no graphical difference between.
There's not a huge amount of graphical differences between them.
It seems like you've been playing just Castlevania 1.
If you're not a retro game, if you're not really into the retro stuff, then to many, it might seem like I'm playing the same game over and over.
Yep.
But no,
I just thought you hadn't beat it yet, so I thought it was like a normal game.
Yeah, no, I've beaten plenty of games, you son of a bitch.
Speaking of games, Gray, what have you been playing recently?
Yes.
Well, October, I always try to do all scary games. So I played through Soma, not scary, kind of disappointed because I thought it would be a scary thing, but I was just sucked into the void of existential crisis. That's the word.
Yep. It's more thrilly than scary.
Yeah. I was hoping for going to pee myself kind of scare because I just apparently love to do that to myself. A lot of Dead by Daylight. A lot of Dead by Daylight lately just because I like the game and it's kind of scary but not really. And then I tried out Phasmophobia finally for the first time and that is really fun. I feel like I'll probably get bored of it rather quickly, but it's still fun for me now, so I'm really liking it. And I went in super blind. I did not watch anyone else's clips. I didn't care to listen or look into any of it, and I have some really funny clips of me just I cried a little bit from laughing so much at my reaction, but it was still funny.
What do you like about Dead by Daylight?
Great question.
Because I'll give you some time to think about it because I do not understand that game. I don't understand why people like it, why people play it. I don't understand the replayability of it. This is coming from somebody who plays rocket car soccer, so I have no foot to stand on. But with that said, what is it about that game that people like so much?
I think I like playing the killer a lot just because it's fun to kill people. And I get really a dark side comes out, the dark inner Gray comes out. And
Fair.
I'm finally I can release her. But I don't know. I mean, I do have a kind of completionist type of way, and they have challenges and stuff, and just getting all my characters ranked up and stuff, which is probably a waste of time, but I enjoy it. So I don't know. I think it's
Can
just
I just say one thing to shit on Dead by Daylight? The reason that I haven't actually I played it.
I said no
a bit. Is someone talking? I can't tell. The Dead by Daylight, no matter what the expansion is, they literally haven't changed. They had the Stranger Things add-on or whatever. They haven't changed the design of the mechanics. The cabinets are the exact same, at least up to the point that I played it. I don't know. Has that changed recently?
I mean, when I say change, it's they're oh, okay, we'll up the graphics a little bit and we'll make it look like you're actually doing something on the generator instead of just touching stuff.
But I feel like they have a huge opportunity to do different stuff other than fixing a generator and hiding inside of a box. It annoys me that they haven't expanded upon that, or like changed the lockers for like when they did the Stranger Things thing. It's just like, to me, they didn't. It's like it's the exact same props on every map, and for me, that wasn't like a nut. Like they didn't like expand upon it. Like there was
I get that. I get that completely. Like every expansion DLC, it's just like, oh, we're just adding more player to like kind of spice it up. Like the most recent thing they did is called the Blight, and I just think it's funny because he just runs and then bounces like a ping pong ball and then can hit people, and it's just like, that's literally the only thing that's like changed. But I don't disagree with you.
I love people who can acknowledge the shitty parts of video games while still love them. That's one thing that I've always noticed is the movement looks janky as fuck. The graphics are terrible. And the animations of people doing things, like when they're working on a generator, it looks like they're patching a phone patch panel from like Mad Men 1950s. They're just like, oh, I touch all these things and I move my head around. It's like, what the fuck? So that's the one thing I've always wondered, because I've never talked to anybody that I know of that liked playing Dead by Daylight, and I never got it. Can we all take a second and look at Jimmy's back wall? Is that a portal to another bedroom, or is that a mirror that is reflecting other parts of the room?
No, but the cat came from there, no?
That's why I'm all fucked up.
It's a portal.
Is that another
a portal
room?
in his new house, dude?
It looked like it could be a lamp on the other side of the bed, right? But maybe the cat came from under the back.
What is it?
I don't know.
Jimmy, enhance.
No, it definitely came from that little slit, for sure.
And I think
cat came out of.
Is that the top of his chair that's blocking like the floor at the bottom of those doors? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to figure that out for the longest time. In the entire podcast, actually. He's probably taking a hot shit right now, laughing at us trying to figure this out.
But like, okay, so to go back to Dead by Daylight really quickly, like we've all played games that are like super repetitive, like Rocket League and Rogue Company or whatever game it is. But like Banjo Tooie is a good example of this. I don't know if you ever played any of the Banjo games back on N64 Gray, but like it's all the same. Like you just do the same shit, but it's a different theme surrounding the shit, right?
Yeah.
And like Knackers brought up like the patching cable thing. Like if they had like an old 50s theme thing, like they would. The thing that drives me crazy is that why is it always generators? Like what is significant about the generators? Why is it that it's the cabinets can't have a different skin per level? Like I'm so frustrated by this game because everyone plays it, and I've seen you play it a bunch, and I know it's like the reaction of it, but it's like if I was the Dead by Daylight devs, like. If I work for that company, I would lose my mind because like the creative freedom is limited to just like the characters, and like the worlds don't replicate that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, we're making a new map? Yeah, but just take all the same shit from the last map.
The old ass. Don't redesign a box or a generator. Like do you know, Gray, what like explain to me, because I haven't played it very much at all. What is the purpose of the generators in the game?
So, all right. You're put in this, like, we'll just say it's a kill floor, a general map where you have to escape. You have to turn on all the generators to power up the doors to then escape from the killer. And the killer has to kill everybody. I think, like, so basically the generators you have to power on 5 of them, repair 5 generators. And they added a thing now, finally. I think they probably got enough shit about it where they were like, oh, they just look like you're just doing nothing. They have it where it looks like you're like connecting wires and messing with like levers and shit. But yeah, no. So the generators are just power on to get the door open to escape the killer, kind of a thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
It's just like I mean, like, yes, I acknowledge it's kind of dumb and super repetitive. I think the thing, going back to your question on like what do I enjoy about it, is more or less either when I'm a killer, just like being able to outplay other players,
right,
or I love to kill them all, or like when I'm surviving with my friends. Like I typically play it when I'm playing with friends, where it's like we all play in kind of big brain against the killer and outplay the killer, kind of a thing. Because there are people that are like too fucking good at that game. I don't know how they're good, and they just like know where you are.
You are one of 2 streamers that I've regularly watched play that game.
Yeah.
The only other one I watched regularly play that was Glitter when she was streaming.
Oh yeah.
You played a lot of that game.
To Bishop's point, like when I think of Left 4 Dead end of level, get gasoline to fuel a chopper to leave, get car parts to fix the car to go. Like there's so many different ways that you could escape the killer, but there just isn't. But
they could definitely throw in a little change.
They could.
I would play it. I would play it if there was different themes.
Wait, are you talking about Dead by Daylight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're complaining. I'm complaining about, because I've always been annoyed by this, but complaining about the fact that there's not like other themes other than fix the generator to open the door, which Gray just explained to me. So the generators themselves aren't really significant to anything actually happening besides the objective of the door opening. So I feel like what Knackers was saying, like repair the car, do this to get out, this get out. It's just like, it just drives me crazy. Like I was so excited when the Stranger Things came out, because I was a fan of Stranger Things. Like first 2 seasons, I kind of fell off. My personal like paying attention to the show fell off a little bit after the second season. But like I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool. Like maybe there's gonna like something with like dimensions, like where it's opening a door, and then it's like, okay, here's the generator again, and I'm like,
Spoilers.
wait, shit, fuck, I just spoiled the game, Monka. Oh, by the way, Jimmy, at the end of the game, sometimes the people escape. So
there you go.
Sorry.
There you go. Jimmy, were you listening to the podcast when you got up?
No.
In between, behind you, there are 2 sets of doors, and there is either a pathway to another room or a mirror.
Doors. Oh, so that's a mirror.
I knew it.
Where did the cat come from? Was it
You
on
saw
the
her
other
in the
side
reflection of the mirror. It was
bed?
the other side of the bed. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you saw her jump up. She was hiding under the bed, came out on that side, so you saw her in the mirror pop up onto the bed. Yeah.
She was looking at us through the mirror or bounce. That fucks me up because her eyes.
No, my head's covering the mirror. No, she was looking at you on the bed. Her eyes showed up when she was on the bed.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because I've been staring at that. I'm like analyzing the colors and like the geometry of the reflection.
You know me. I like to keep things dimly lit. So this makes me look. I have like a way fuller head of hair than I actually do. So
that's
how I roll.
Plus accurately, or should I say a strategically placed mirror. Is this the Bang Sanctum by chance?
Ooh.
No, although in Crocs and Hot Pockets episode 27, you did reference Bang Sanctum multiple times. And I'm not lying. This is not a Bang Sanctum. I'm living with my in-laws. We live, but they have like a massive, almost like 5,000 square foot home. So we live in the back part of their house, and they live in the front part. Like there's a door that separates where we have the animals and everything. And so and they have several acres. So we're building on the back part of their house. Like the back part of their property is where we're going to build our house this next year. And so the only common space we share, like we have our own living room. Like there's like a living, like I never really use it because whenever we want to go in the living room, we go hang out with them. But we have, it's basically a house and another house connected.
That's pretty dope.
That's actually
Really
sick. Yeah.
cool.
So we live here and we're building there. My son does remote school here, and it's also closer. I mean, it was only 2 miles from where I lived anyway, and I live even closer to work now, so it's like a 7-minute commute.
Nice.
Win-win, man.
Hella
Yeah,
wins.
It's been really, 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 really good these last couple of months, and I'm just, it has helped a lot with my mental health because I know everyone's been dealing with mental health issues since COVID started, and I know that having the family here and having we get together, like we get along great. Like my in-laws, like it's not like the horror stories. Like my in-laws, like we're fucking like we're tight, man. I get along better with my in-law parents than I do my IRL parents. You know, like we're just like they treat me like their son, and it's just I trust them implicitly with everything, and it's easy. It's fucking easy.
When
That's
you were
awesome.
explaining the layout of the house, you said they have the front side of the house and then we have the back side. And there's a door that separates us from the animals. I thought you were talking about the in-laws for a second.
So my
Like,
father-in-law,
oh, shit.
I don't want to make this a super long story, but
Yeah.
they have one dog. It's this fucking mutt terrier dog named Toodles. Okay.
Oh.
She is the loudest, fucking most annoying dog. We actually that's the only thing we fought about is that fucking dog. Because when he was so worried about our dogs coming, because we have 3 dogs and 1 cat.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we brought all our dogs here, the concern was what's going to happen with Toodles, right? I'm like, look, we can keep them separate. I know dogs. I've had dogs. This is the first pet it's the first dog he's ever had, and he's in his 60s, right? So he treats this dog like fucking royalty. Like you have I know how you treat your dog, Ray, and I know how you treat your dogs, Bishop, and well, with your secondary. I know initially the dog mom was Weenie's, but it's your dog now, Bo.
Adopted dog.
Yeah, adopted dog. I know how you treat your animals. You guys treat your animals like fucking peasant scum compared to the way my father-in-law treats his dog.
Damn.
Okay.
And I know how well you treat. I know how well you treat your dogs.
And it's a terrier.
Yeah.
So it's just like I got wine drunk, and this was like a weekend, and we've been living together, and I was stressed out. I was back to work, dude. I'm at school. There's the COVID threat, everything, and I just fucking one night I just said, I was like, you know what? Your dog's fucking annoying, Robert. Fuck your dog. I said our dogs. I said all you gotta do is let them. Is like he was bitching about. The dog our dogs being in the yard at the same time with his dog, and now they're gonna our dogs don't give a shit about your dog, okay? They don't care. They don't give a fuck. Your dog, no one fucking cares, Robert. No one cares except you and your dog. They're not gonna attack your dog. No one gives a shit about Toodles. Move the fuck on.
You named your dog Toodles, you asshole.
He was doomed from the start.
Alpha Jimmy.
Does Toodles get canned food? Is he like one of the canned food types of
Toodles gets human food, dude. Freshly baked bacon, fucking it's insane.
How is he alive?
No, it's proteins. It's proteins. They can live off of that. Yeah, because what do you think they did before dog food?
Yeah.
But all that grease and fat from bacon?
No, it's not. It's plain. It's plain. That's not the only thing Toodles eats. But yeah, Toodles eat, and yeah, Toodles is fat too. Yeah. Yes. Toodles is fat and stupid.
Turtles.
And just I don't hate Toodles, but
he's fucking annoying.
She's so fucking annoying, and she barks all the time, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, dog.
Can we get a picture of Toodles on Twitter at some point?
Yeah, please.
I will send you guys. I will send you a picture of Toodles.
I need to see it. Yeah.
Weenie J. I will get you guys all a picture. Okay.
There's two genres of dog that when I hear, I immediately go, ugh. It's terrier and fucking Maltese. Anytime I hear that somebody has a fucking Maltese, I'm like, we're not friends.
Has a Maltese.
Get the fuck out of here. That's a mom dog.
Are Maltese the little weird long hair furry teeny ones that kind of look like like Mogwai from Gremlins?
I'm trying to think.
I think that's a Papillon, isn't it?
Or is Maltese the one the really long haired dogs?
No.
They can be.
I hate these things.
So.
These aren't even dogs. These aren't dogs.
I think they're hypoallergenic. They don't shed. I know that.
I got a link coming for you.
Her little Maltese.
I got a link coming for you.
Open up a Google Maltese dog.
This is like a Barbie for a fucking 65-year-old stay-at-home.
Oh yeah, dude. Fuck these types of dogs. Yeah.
Fuck, that's not a dog, dude.
Nah, that's a fucking no. No, honestly, I think our other dog that's a mutt. We have a dog named Buttons. I think she's a Maltese something mix. Oh. But no, Buttons is like the dumbest. Actually, she's even dumber than Toodles. But she's super sweet. Like she's super nice. Like she's super nice and a sweet dog. So that's why I put up with her, because that's my son's dog and he loves Buttons. No. And she'll just sleep in bed with him and just cuddle and But like that's the only reason I even fucking tolerate this dog. Otherwise, she would have been nah.
Gray, rate your mom's Maltese from 0 to 10. Oh, see?
Okay, so like I love
That's
him.
That's the truth. You don't even have to say it. You don't say anything.
But
yeah.
Like a 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Maltese scale only goes up to 3. Like dog scale is 0 to 10. Maltese only go up to 3.
Like he's a sweetheart, but he has like hella bad anxiety and he spins in circles. Like when I say spins in circles, I'm not like, oh, like once or twice. It's like, no, he will literally spin 20 times in a row like just panting and just like just crazy. Like, oh God.
Stresses you out.
Horrible. Yeah, it's so, he's just like, his energy levels are stressing. Just so stressful.
Does he have long hair or short hair? Like, is it like one of the...
She gets them shaved shorter.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
The long
next
ones are like
this next like mini story will tell you exactly why I hate Malteses. My best friend growing up, their mom got a dog growing up, and it was a female Maltese, and the name was Mimsy.
Mimsy.
Mimsy. Hate Malteses. Like, and oh my God, I can't even go into it. But yeah, just a dog named Mimsy. Barkers.
My mom's dog is Beckham. His name is.
That's not too bad. That's actually kind of a cool name. Weenie and I, every day, we have like a little sit down and we discuss whether or not today's the day we're going to get another dog.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I am set on the next dog we get, their name being Seymour. I am, for whatever reason, just obsessed.
Wait, what does Weenie say?
I think she's down with it, but I'm trying to think, because we're still trying to decide on gender. And I think if it's a boy, I'm gonna name it, and if it's a girl, she'll name it. But have you guys seen that? There's a video that came out a while back, but it's a video of a guy making himself a sandwich, and he's like, "Hey, I made you a sandwich. Like, come here, check it out." And he's like, "You made me a sandwich?" Like,
yeah, that meme dude.
Yeah.
And
his name,
I love that shit.
His name is Seymour.
I can't remember his name.
It's Seymour.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. He has the funniest facial expressions.
He does. Yeah.
Like, he makes you like, "Oh, you made me a sandwich?"
Yeah. It's right over here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have to get into the question and answer so that we don't keep you all up super late. I feel like I haven't talked to all of you enough. Like, I could go for another 2 hours of podcasting because I just love sitting here talking with you guys, and it hasn't been enough. And 2 hours is a really long time, but it's not enough. I just want to let you guys know that.
Are you trying to get us to tell you it's okay to keep going? Is that what you're asking right now?
No, because I'm
just keep it going. 2 more hours? I'm just gonna use the bathroom 2 to 5 more hours. I'm totally
in
fine
between
with
there.
it. I know you guys are okay. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Perfect. You go take a shit.
Oh, he actually has to pee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just put on the show is over. My bad. Q&A.
I was so glad, by the way, when Gray said she was excited to come back for another one. I was like,
Yeah.
because you were on with a group show that Knackers had,
Jen
once.
and Conbot.
Mm-hmm. And then you were on with, I was on with you for one episode, I believe. Right? Were we on together? Right?
I'm not sure.
Am I?
You might be imagining things.
I think I might be imagining things.
I remember one with
Maybe that's why I was so
Dean.
excited, because we hadn't been on the same show together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've always thought, I've always loved your streams. I think you're awesome.
Oh, I
And you're
think
cool.
you're awesome.
I'm looking forward to the next TwitchCon. I'm hoping that it's safe enough to go, because this will be my, now that I'm not coaching sports anymore, I can actually go to TwitchCon.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's
so
what I'm the most excited
if TwitchCon
for.
happens next year, I'm gonna go. So
Yeah.
You know
Y'all can go.
you're lodging with us, right?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do a big Airbnb, and I'm only asking for one other spot to hold. That's it.
Absolutely.
For the Airbnb.
Yeah.
And then you can whatever, and I'll pay whatever you need me to, and I'll pay you in exposure.
Hell yeah, dog. Yeah, so Gray, this is your third episode, because we had an episode with Matt Weenie and GameWithGray, and then we had Gent Conbot and GameWithGray, and that's
That's what it was.
I think that was the first episode that Conbot was on, and his mic was all fucked up, and he was like down an octave or something. It was so fucking funny. Welcome back, Missy.
Hello.
That's what it was.
went well.
It was because I knew I hadn't been on the show. That's why. Yes, I was like, yeah, Gray. Yeah, I didn't get to be on a show with Gray. So I was excited.
You see, Gray, our resident old man, he has really poor memory, and that's why he thought he was on the podcast.
Well, notice I
with you.
said I've never been on. Be
Dude,
excited
my
to be on a
memory.
show with you.
That is true. Likewise, Jimmy.
Okay, all right, good.
So trying to figure out when Gray was on the last podcast, I did a YouTube search of the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast, and I'll put this link in chat. It's a screenshot of us three And like the progression of facial hair, regular hair, like hats and beanies, and just how it's like
look at Bishop in that last one at the bottom in the middle. It looks like a fucking doofus.
Oh, I look like I just get signed to the military, but then they kick me out, so I tried cutting my own hair.
I don't know if this is the right idea. I don't know. You can tell, like, oh, those are quarantine haircuts right there. 100%. I just went and shaved it off.
The best decision I made was doing those thumbnails where it's just headshots of every episode. I fucking love making those. All right. First question from Hellhound. What's the guide to a successful start of a podcast? Don't ask me. I wouldn't know.
Making sure that the people that are on the podcast know what your expectations are when you take them off mute.
That's the only thing. That's literally it. That's it.
Yikes.
How long?
Do that. Everything else takes care of itself.
We went over this.
Wait, have you done that?
We went over this.
Have you gone over that? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hellhound, let me answer this for you, because clearly Knackers and Jimmy have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to podcasts. I'm actually on 2. They're only on 1. So let's talk about that.
Let's fucking go.
All right, Vape Tricks 69
I'm kind of a big deal.
podcast.
Listen, I'm kind of world famous for these podcast things around the sim racing community. But all that you need is a few like-minded individuals with similar interests, and they can talk for hours. And that's kind of what happens on this podcast, which is why it's
and you don't have to have the greatest audio quality, but you got to have decent audio quality.
Yep.
And it does make a difference if you can record locally. I know it's more time consuming for putting those up, and Knackers does all that and makes us record locally because he cracks the whip on us. But honestly, it's not a big a deal, and it sounds so much better than what you can record otherwise. So I would recommend that too. But that's not something that needs to happen until you've kind of established an audience, I guess, you know?
I have one more link going in chat, and this is just to kind of give people an idea. This is a screenshot of our script for the night, of all of the talking points that we wanted to touch on during the podcast. We touched on half of what is there, and for the audio listeners, there's nothing there. We have Bishop brought up one particular topic. A couple of us listed the games that we've talked about recently. And then I had 3 topics that we didn't even get to. Go back.
I mean, to be fair, your topics suck.
I think they're good topics.
Thanks.
Oh, of course. You're the guest. You're going to say that. But I'm going to be real with you.
No,
They're not good.
3 years ago, I could not have done this. I could have not had a completely empty script and talked for 2 hours. This is something that I've tried working on as a person. I've tried working at it as a host. There's skills that you will build over time. But yeah, it's really, I was not a good podcaster. I would say for at least the first couple of years. It wasn't until recently where I've actually thought like I listen to my own podcast. Like every week I put the podcast that we had on again and I listen to it. I laugh, I get sad, I cringe. And that's how I know that I'm putting out some good shit, or at least I think.
Dude, you've come a long way since when you started, and
Thank you.
I've seen it. I listened to them all too, so no, I can tell you without a doubt, you've gotten a lot better.
Thank you.
Oh, so those are the 2 viewers for the audio.
Yep.
Yeah, for you two
There you
audio
guys are,
listeners.
okay.
1.5.
Yeah.
Bearded Corvus asks, have any of y'all tried Japanese whiskey? If so, what do you think of it?
Yes, the one I could easily recommend that's like a good mid grade is, it's like Suntory Toki or something like that. You can tell. Just Google it. You know what? I'll Google it and put a link in the chat room. It is actually really. I've tried a couple. And they've all been. Yeah, here it is. Suntory whiskey right here. Hang on. I'm going to put this little link in the old chat room.
I think you've recommended that one to me.
It's a good mid-grade. Oh, sorry. Holy link. Fuck.
Oh, my God.
'Cause I did it through the Google thing. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, I think I might have had this too.
Let me do this first one. Then you don't have... I have to have my fucking date of birth in. Whatever. Click the link. Anyway. It's really, really good. It's not gonna get you too hammered. It's mild. That's a good starter pack into Japanese whiskey. That's like the Bud Light of Japanese whiskey, though. So just know that there's other stuff out there. But yeah, it's the basic Becky, which is me, starter pack of Japanese whiskey.
I just found a YouTube channel of it's a Scottish lady who is does a bartending channel, and she's very knowledgeable about bourbons and scotches and whiskey. The name of the channel is called Behind the Bar, and I've been watching a lot of the content lately, trying to learn about whiskeys, and I've learned a shit ton, and so I can recommend that. Behind the Bar. I'm just learning about whiskey, so I have no recommendations as it comes to Japanese stuff.
And my memory is absolute crap, so I think I've tried the one that Jimmy suggested, but I really don't know.
You probably had it. You just blacked out, so you don't remember.
Yep.
What an assumption!
I've never had that ever happen. Thankfully.
I'm kidding.
No, I know.
Have you thrown up in Knacker's backyard? No. This guy has twice.
Vance asks, can at least one of you guys convince Knackers to play because we need the peer pressure, and the stands
Mass Effect
for
Andromeda?
Among Us.
But have you played the fun modes where you don't play the actual game and you just do funny hide and seek and stuff?
Okay. When
you play with a group of people.
Can we take a timeout? Because we have two grown crybaby men that have mustaches. I'm not going to name who they are on this podcast, but they are constantly crying about Among Us because it's popular. It is actually a fun game with a group of people that you're playing with. The dynamic of the game changes depending on who you're playing with. It doesn't always turn into a scream fest depending on who you're playing it with, but it doesn't matter what the game is. It's a shitty fucking little mobile game, but it's fun because of the context that your friends bring into it.
I 100% agree with you. The reason I don't stream it is that's not the type of content that I would normally produce.
Yeah.
But to let you know how I was okay with Among Us, I told my students if they averaged an 80 or better as a class on the last test, which we had last week, I would play them because we have a advisory period after, which is some kids go to specials and stuff like that, and some kids just do I watch them every other day for an hour, and they basically do study hall. And I just put on a documentary on the projector. And I told my kids that were in my AP World History class, said if you guys get an 80 average as your class, for Empower Hour next week, I'll play Among Us because they're always playing Among Us on their phones, and they're because they'd asked me to play. It's if you guys get an 80 average, I'll play. They got 79, and they didn't believe me. I showed them. I hid the names and I showed the average and the score on the fucking shit, and I'm like, no, you motherfuckers, you got a 79. I ain't playing. No, you do your shit. I'm gonna go do my shit.
This is my thought process, because this is the conversation that I have with people. Hey, Knackers, do you like eating shit? No, I'm not a big fan of literally eating feces. Oh, okay, you don't like... Well, what about dude, it's all about the friends that you play with. It's all about the friends that you eat shit with. No, I still don't like eating shit. Oh, it's too bad, man. For one, it's just not the type of game. When I want to sit down and I want to play a game, I want to play a first-person shooter, third-person shooter, Rocket League. That's what I want to play. I'm sure if I sat down and gave it a chance, I would probably enjoy it. But at this point, I have to continue to hate it to make people angry, because I enjoy doing that a little bit.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like when Jimmy came into town, he didn't share a nice plate of shit with you. And that just proves that Jimmy and I's relationship's better than yours.
Chunky, but
Nutty.
lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Chunky but lovely.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, I will probably play it, but again, when I want to sit down,
I'll play it at some point. I have not played it once yet, and I don't give a shit. I'm like, whatevs. Y'all have fun, and I'll eventually will play it.
It's kind of like Fall Guys. It's kind of actually Fall Guys is a better game, but it's kind of just whatever. If you're we don't know what we want to do, it's kind of it's like playing Scribbly IO or whatever the hell that website is.
And Vance hates Fall Guys.
Yeah, it's trash.
Which I don't understand, because You're just like a chubby
Among
chunker
Us
running
is
around.
really fun with your buddies when you're just hanging out and drinking. Like, it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, you just used the same argument as the one that people use for Among Us. Oh, well, it's fun with friends.
Dude, there's gotta be Knackers. There's gotta be
But it's
a
different.
game.
No,
there's gotta
Fall
be a game that
Guys
he's
requires
convincing people to
zero
play.
thought. You're just playing with fucking reflex.
No
with
way.
Among Us, you've got
You
to
do have
think.
tasks and shit, yeah.
You got
It's totally different. It's not the same.
I think if you change up the settings, then it's not like, oh, who's the imposter? And everybody's like, I'm the imposter. Like the one person who's the imposter is like, I'm the imposter. I'm going to come kill you. And then you just like try to run away from them. That makes it fun when you have like a group of people and you're just drinking, hanging out, and it's just like, haha, I'm going to murder you kind of a thing. That's, I think
that's Dead by Daylight.
No,
just
I
with more
agree with you,
content.
Gray. I agree with
There's
you.
a common theme. Gray, murder.
That's so true.
It does seem to be
Oh, God.
popping up quite a bit, Gray. I'm a little concerned, actually.
Kill my friends in a video game. Laugh at
there's a
them.
lot of repressed and just hidden things.
Hey, look, I'm not judging, okay? I'm not going to judge you because I don't want to be on the receiving end, okay? So I'm not judging at all.
I'm going to have
Knackers and Bishop, they're judging. I
a little
am
bit.
not.
I'm going to have a conversation and ask how Ryan really broke his collarbone.
Oh my God. That's the running joke with my friends. They're like, oh, she broke his collarbone. No, he was like miles and miles away on a freaking snow thing, doing snowboarding things and stuff. That was his dumbass.
She could have been. She could have just said,
never.
I really just enjoy fixing generators. Like that is like the gameplay element that I think we would be more judgmental if that was the case because we all play games where we just murder things constantly.
Fair. Vans, I will make a promise and a commitment to you here on the podcast. I will play Among Us with you.
Yo, fuck Vans!
At least one day. I will give you that one time. I've been preaching that I don't judge a book by its cover and that I will try and play games just because I want to experience it. But man, Among Us got ruined like no other game has gotten ruined for me. And it's specifically because of Twitch and content and everything. It just, I couldn't get past it. And I'll play with you, Vans. All right. Last question from Bearded Corvus. Do you judge whether or not a game is good or bad if the community around the game is toxic or not? What an ironic follow-up question.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you judge whether or not a game is good or bad if the community around the game is toxic or not?
Sometimes I kind of like I haven't touched League of Legends because I heard it was so toxic. So like I guess yeah. But try not to, I guess. Kind of just judge it based off of your own experience with it.
I try not to. I try my hardest, but there is a certain level of influence that the content creation community has over video games. And you can do your best to completely avoid it. But if you are a streamer and you are on social media and you have friends that are content creators too, you are getting exposed to certain parts of games and streaming that normally you would not have. And that, I think, plays a huge part into your experience. I used to be really, really bad at just being like, oh, that game looks like it sucks. I'm not playing it. And then I started to experience what it was like to have friends that thought that way. And I'm like, God, you guys are fucking lame. Oh my God, that's me. I do that. And then I tried to actively change.
Yeah, I am like hyper competitive with video games. We already mentioned that a lot on this podcast, like way too much. But I grew up playing World of Warcraft and doing World of Warcraft PvP, and a toxic gaming community hasn't existed before WoW, like to that extent. And it still is probably the most toxic gaming environment that exists. It's bad. Like play a regular BG and look at the chat for 10 minutes. It's pretty bad. Like League's getting there. It's pretty close, but I don't really let that kind of stuff influence me. Usually, like if I'm already playing the game and it starts turning toxic, it turns into like a motivating factor because I like beating people that are annoying. But yeah, it's like watching someone play Plasmophobia can ruin the game for you if they play it in a way that it's just like, oh, that's not really interesting.
Yeah.
Like the best way to enjoy, and same thing with Among Us and Fall Guys. Like if you're watching a guy that's a competitive Fall Guys player, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, that's how you beat the stage. Okay, cool. And then you just don't really care about playing the game because you just see how it can be beat. So I don't like let that influence me. It's just kind of like, yeah.
I don't play enough multiplayer games for that to be even a factor in my decision making. So I'm not really a.
What about chat?
Good
What about
person to
chat?
ask.
Chat turning toxic. Like if you're playing like Battletoads or something. Like, will you not stream a game, Jimmy, because chat's too toxic when you play that game?
I've had a few games that I've played where the backseating and the whatever has gotten out of hand. One game, one of the reasons it's one of my favorite games of all time, and I don't want to stream it a lot, even though I love the game, is Skyrim. There are so many people that want to fucking tell you how to play Skyrim. I fucking hate streaming Skyrim because of that. Like, I've streamed Skyrim several times, and every single time I ended up stopping streaming Skyrim is because of backseating. Like, people just want to fucking come in and tell you, okay, this is the end goal for this mission. You should do this, this, this. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking trying to play a game, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to know I'd played the game before, but it just, I don't know, man. Like, I think that bothers me more than anything else, is the backseaters that just want to come in and tell you exactly how to do something without you asking, you know? Like, I asked for help plenty of times, and I love to ask for help, and there's lots of people who love to help me. But if I'm not asking for help, don't fucking tell me the solution. You know what I mean? I don't know. Call me a boomer, I guess.
I completely skipped over Rainbow Six Siege because of the barrier to entry in that game with map learning and guns and operators is really, really high. And two, the toxicity. Especially, I have never seen a game more hateful towards women than Rainbow Six Siege. Like, all of the clips that I see on LSF and Twitter is every single time it's a woman, getting berated by randoms in chat. It's always Rainbow Six Siege. Fucking always. A couple times it's Overwatch. A little bit of League of Legends. It's always fucking Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know why, but that game is a breeding ground for shit eaters. I don't understand.
No, that's true.
I haven't even played it,
Siege,
so
but
I don't know.
that.
I want to play the game, but it's too late now.
It's gonna take you like weeks and or months just to even figure out how to play the game. But I mean, it's a fun element just figuring it out. But it is definitely, I feel like it's the advanced mature version of like Overwatch or something like that. Like Overwatch is still kind of kiddie, and then you kids, like the guys hit puberty, they're like 14, 15, 16 years old. And they're like, oh, okay, well, now I'm a masculine, manly man, and I'm going to go talk crap because I'm not taking shit anymore. And that's the kind of Zoomer that plays Siege.
Zoomer. All right, motherfuckers. Well, that is the end of the Q&A, and therefore that is the end of the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. Chat, thank you guys for hanging out with us, chilling and being dope. Audio listeners in the future, we love you just as much, if not a little bit more, even though you are missing out on the live video experience. So what we're going to do...
Do we, though? Do we?
No, I don't know. That's your claim, Knackers.
That's debatable.
Don't put that in our mouths, Knackers. We care about the live audience.
I put a lot of things in your mouth, and those lies are not one of them.
We are... Whoa, that's a dick joke.
Penis. We're going to go around the room, have everybody reintroduce who they are, what they have coming up online in this space, and then we'll close this bitch out. So, Bishop, we'll go with you, and then Jimmy, and then Gray.
I will probably be streaming. I was supposed to stream yesterday, but I didn't. You can find me on Twitch at BishopGp, on Twitter at Bishop Was Here. There's some other podcast. I can't even remember the name of it, but I'm not going to promote that. But the coolest thing,
the vape podcast?
Yeah, the vape podcast. That's what it was. The coolest thing that I'm involved in right now is we started a DayZ server, like what I mentioned I think the last podcast, I just started it. It's up and running. It's called Day Juan instead of Day One, which I think is kind of funny. So it's been a really good time, but it's like a full-time job for me. So yeah, if you like DayZ or if you haven't tried it, hit me up on Twitter or on Discord and come and play. It's not as shitty as regular DayZ, which is great. So it's actually playable. You don't have to spend 40 hours just to die by a pack of wolves eating your carcass because you starved to death because you couldn't find a can of beans. So, yep.
Perfect. My name is Jimmy, aka MiddleAgedStream. You can find me on Twitch Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 8 Central Time. MiddleAgedStream on Twitter. I'm trying to finish Castlevania 3 for the NES. I'm hoping to finish it this week. Next week, I will be playing as a community reward for a fundraising goal. I'll be playing the new remastered Resident Evil 3 remaster, which came out earlier this year. Did you play that, Gray?
Yeah, I really
Did you like
liked
it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like the first two, so I'll be playing that next week. And then next Saturday, my wife, for the first time since my first few months of streaming, will be joining me on stream. We're going to play on Halloween, the day before the next podcast. We are going to be playing together in her town on Animal Crossing. We're going to go. We're going to go explore a little Halloween town. And we'll it'll be fun. So, yeah, that's what I got going on next.
That sounds so lovely. My name is Gray. I go by GameWithGray on Twitch. I stream Tuesday through Saturday, playing an assortment of games. But coming up this week, we're going to be playing the new Amnesia that's coming out on Tuesday. And then probably doing some paranormal ghost hunting with Phasmophobia. And you can watch me pee myself while I get scared from ghosts and stuff.
My name is Knackers. You guys can find me on this very Twitch channel or on Instagram and Twitter at Knackers with 3 A's, or on YouTube as well. I've really been trying to ramp up. I'm trying to do one YouTube video a week, and that's kind of like my goal as of late. And I've been able to do it 2 weeks, so don't expect anything for the next month or so. It's going to be my guess. But yeah, super awesome time. Gray, Bishy, Jimmy, thank you all for being on the podcast. It was a super fun time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man.
We're going to get the fuck out of here. If you guys want to be dope and you want to stick around and raid another channel, that would be awesome. Otherwise, we will see you next week. I think I have somebody scheduled. I forgot it. It's the whiskey talking. We love you guys. Good night.
Bye.
Yeah, yeet. I'll see you guys later.
Later.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. If you would like to catch the show live, it airs on Twitch on my channel at twitch.tv/knackers at 9 p.m. every single Sunday. If you would like to check out the most recent episode of the podcast, you can probably click this little box here. And if you feel like checking out some of our highlights, you can maybe click this little box down here. And maybe I'll even put a little thing for you to click right here. No? Bye.